All right, says I'm live. What's up, everybody? Blue sky in the house. One viewer. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. The topic of tonight's show. um, all the good MAGA Republicans on X right now are congratulating themselves and patting themselves on the back right now because they had the courage to say Merry Christmas instead of Happy Holidays this year. So yeah, that's where we're at. But I will just I'll just do some I'll talk about the small talk. See if anybody shows up. We got two in the house. If you're wondering why I look like this, it's because I feel like this. I am beat right now. Had a look at me, man. I'm a mess. I did not prepare for today. I didn't even want to do this, but I will do it because my integrity won't allow me to say I'm going to do something and then turn around and not do it. Very rarely does that happen. So I didn't even like shaving wasn't even going to happen today. It's just let me see if I can let's see if that looks is that a little better? I don't know. This light, this little portrait light that I'm looking at right here, it is let's fix this camera a little bit. All right, we're good. This little portrait light is hard to look at, especially when I'm exhausted like I am right now. And but yeah, once again, Merry Christmas. Um if you we got 5 in the house now, but like I was saying, yes, everybody on X right now, all the good MAGA Republicans are patting themselves on the back and congratulating each other because they had the balls to say Merry Christmas instead of Happy Holidays this year. Oh, good. Bless their little hearts. Um, whether you say Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas or Bah Humbug or whatever, um, hope you had a good one today. I can't say that it was bad, but just me, myself, and the phone, some phone calls and some I had the opportunity to go chill with my friend. And I said, you know what, homie, I think maybe I'll hit you up on the weekend, but right now I ain't feeling it. No, no, no hard feelings, none taken. Um, so let's see. I have no preparation for this show. I took very few notes. So I'll just talk about the small talk stuff. We have 6 people. I didn't expect anybody to come because it's Christmas Day, but it's for a lot of people, it's just another day. A lot of people don't make a big deal out of this. So let's see. Since when was the last live stream? Would have been last Thursday. What's going on in this world? The book. I'm helping the client that I'm helping write a book. We finally finished it. Finished it enough. Like this is part of the reason why I look like I do, because I'm kind of burned out from it. But we got it done. We got it to the finish line. It's back in the hands of the editor. But now the editor is on Christmas break, the main editor. And so that means my client could turn around and change a bunch of stuff between now and then, which is, it's fine. I get paid for it, but I feel like I'm burned out from I've been working on this book since like sometime I think October, November, December. It's been dragging on and it's not my bread and butter. It's not my cup of tea. I'd rather be a designer. I'd rather be doing some of the other work. One of the big reasons is I can't put on background music. I can't put on a YouTube video off to the side. I can have absolutely zero distractions when I'm working on editing a book and editing copy like that because I have to read what I'm editing and I can't focus on it if there's stuff going on, noise, video, podcast, video off to the side, music in the background. I can't focus on what I'm reading if there's has to be dead silent in here. And so 3 whole months or so of just every time I work, I'm in dead silence and I have to focus on just that and that alone. And I'm just kind of burned out from that. Um, as usual, I had a lot of, I guess I had a lot of anxiety about how everything was going to work out financially this month because of the car. And, I am getting kind of sick. God always makes it work out, but it just seems like he's teaching me a lesson and I'm kind of sick of it. No offense, God, you're listening to me. You know how I feel. You knew how I felt before I opened my mouth. I'm just kind of getting tired of everything falling into place in the last pot, like literally at the last possible second that it could possibly take place. Um, the post office lost a check, an important check, straight up. Like it's getting to the point where for to get a piece of mail from Jamestown, New York to Houston is taking anywhere from 10 to 15 days. And so my client sends a check with priority mail so that it would have a tracking number and be traceable. And it should have been here in 3 days. It took even longer. And the tracking number showed up the day before it was supposed to be at my house. It showed up in Houston, tracking number. Very next day, it showed up at a post office 150 miles away, and then it just disappeared. It showed up as missing. It showed up as sorry, dude, we lost it. And that put me in a pickle beyond. This is like the third time since I bought this car that I've been in a jam to where I'm like this close to the knife's edge of basically owing my bank $1,000 in overdraft fees. Probably not. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but no, like things getting that close and that bad. And it's like I'm doing the work. I'm not, the fucking post office is to blame for this. So I put together an invoice, got my client to pay it electronically so that I could get the money instantly. And even though I'm going to have to eat the transaction fees for it, but I needed to do it. And he was cool about it. Like he was like, yeah, yeah, we can do that. And then yesterday, Christmas Eve, the check shows up in the mail. The tracking number said it was going to show. I got a text message. Tracking number says all of it. Oh, we found it. It's going to be there today. And so wouldn't it be the case that I'm looking out the window because there's a narrow window left so that I can still get to the bank on time to get that transaction done because it's Christmas Eve and they're going to close early. The mailman showed up at my mailbox. I grabbed the check, got in the car, drove to the bank. I got to the bank at the exact same time the teller came up and locked the door. The mailman was literally 2 minutes too late for me to get the check put in the bank. So I just went to the back of the bank and put it in at the ATM, but it could be like 5 days before they let those funds be available to me. I don't know, but I did. Oh, is it working now? Oh, son of a bitch. Hold on. This is the week I'm about ready to just hang it up because this is the week I'm having right now and it won't end. I'm not in a good mood right now. Hold on. I gotta close this out again. I'll be right back. Oh, Let's try this again. Let's check it again. What the fuck? Yeah, I'm not seeing any. Is it back? Is the audio back? Okay, because I'm not seeing the indicator that shows the audio at the bottom of the video screen isn't showing me that it's registering any sound. So I don't know, man. This is like, oh my god, this is the week. This is the week I'm having. I'm not really like, I guess, yeah, I'm in a bad mood, but I'm not having like, I think yeah. Oh, yeah. You could definitely tell I was swearing. You didn't need to hear the audio for that. Um, that's what you saw. I'm sure you saw that. Um, wow. Okay. Welcome once again. I don't know what's going on. The internet dropped out for a second, like straight up off, and it came right back. But like all my apps, not just the stream, it was like my internet connection just went kaput and popped back up. I mean, it happens once in a while, but it just kind of it just kind of goes with the day. Um, so let's see where I'll just rehash it. Um, I was talking about, I don't know what you heard and what you didn't hear, but I had a check that was supposed to be here like 2 weeks ago, and it got lost in the mail. Priority mail. Tracking number just said the post office was like, "I don't know, we fucking lost it. Sorry, dude." And it put me in a bind, a really serious bind. And all of a sudden, it showed up yesterday. I got an alert on my phone. Tracking number says it's being delivered today, but being Christmas Eve, of course, they told me what time it would be delivered within a window of time, and I got to the point where I had like maybe 10 minutes left to where if it shows up in the mail, I can still make it to the bank and get it put in my bank at a teller, at a human teller, so that it'll count as being done yesterday, so that the available funds, because the holiday screws all that stuff up, and I need those available funds to be available ASAP. And so the mailman comes, he drops the mail in the mailbox, and I'm looking at the time. I'm like, I'm not going to make it. I got to the bank at the exact same time the teller came and locked the door right in front of me. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. The mailman was 2 minutes too late. 2 minutes earlier, I would have been able to get to the bank, because all I would have needed to do was walk up to a teller with that check and say, "Here you go." So I did the next best thing. I went to the back of the bank and put it in the ATM machine and made a deposit there. But I don't know, because it's after the close of business. I may have to wait until Monday or Tuesday now to get those funds because of the holiday and how that screws up everything. And it just adds to the list of how much I absolutely despise Christmas. I don't hate any other holiday. I don't hate any other holiday, but I hate Christmas. Hate Christmas. Hate this time of year so much. And so I will get into we'll talk about this. I'm not alone. I am far from the only one who cannot stand this time of year. Um, I'm not miserable, like I just had, I just, there's a lot of things that go on this time of year that just, I would rather not be part of it. Just the way people act, the whole everything. And I think a lot of it's on purpose. Like the masters of our universe, the people that rule the world, they design all of this stuff to put us in a certain place mentally. Divide and conquer. Angry, burned out, unhealthy, depressed people are easier to rule over. All these different things. And I can get into some of the details about this. I did not take any notes for today's. Very, very, just jotted down a couple of things here and there. But Christmas is like the only holiday that I actually hate. Like no other holiday really gets under my skin like Christmas. And that is actually becomes a problem for me in like relationships and crap like that because women especially, if you don't play ball, if you don't go along with it, you got some problems. A lot of women are just they here's how I'm going to put it. I have never met in my entire life. I have never known, not one single example, unless they're gay. That's totally different. I've never known a single man, to drag a fucking Christmas tree into their house, drag a tree into their house, put a bunch of garbage on it, and put up a bunch of lights and decorations all over the place and fill the yard with a bunch of stupid shit. Just so that a month later you can pull it all down and put it in a box and take up half of your garage so that next year you can do it all again. Tell me, have you ever seen a single man, like an actual man, not like a gay guy who's like, oh, my tree looks fabulous? No, but like an actual man go out and do all this retarded shit. No, you've never seen that. You've never seen a single guy do that. The only reason a guy does that is because his wife makes him. And how does she make him? She's like, well, if you don't go along with this, and if you don't do what I say, and you don't drag this tree into the house and help me put all the lights on it and put all these stupid things hanging on it, and, so that our dog can, rip everything down every day, and we have to do it over and over again if you have pets, or a cat climbs up to the top of it or whatever. And, there's a fire hazard in the middle of the living room, and all this stupid shit. If you don't go along with it, well, I guess somebody's not getting any pussy for the next month. So you make your choices, mister. And that's why they go along with it. That's the only reason. You will never, ever see a single man putting dragging a tree into their house and doing all this stupid shit just to spend another day or two of their life taking it all back down and putting it in a box to do it again next year. You will never see that. The wives make that happen. And it's the wives and the women that get dragged into this holiday bullshit, and then they make you do it. If you're luckily for me, I'm not in a relationship. I don't have to put up with that crap. I can do what I want. And that's the benefit of being single. I watched Star Wars today, and I made some phone calls, and I made mac and cheese bites and with some sour cream, and because I just too lazy to even cook anything. 15 minutes in the oven, boom, Christmas dinner. Mac and cheese bites. I took a day to myself to just do nothing, as close to nothing as I could do. And now I'm on the live stream with you guys. And I don't got to worry about dragging a freaking tree out of the house next week and taking all these stupid balls off the fucking thing and throwing it all in a box and trying to find a place to store all this crap so that I can do it all again next year. I don't have that. Ain't nothing for me. I ain't got to worry about none of that. So all these big blow up fucking Santa Claus and elves and reindeer and the sleigh and the Grinch and all this stupid shit that the people put in their front yards and waste their electricity on and have those motors blowing them, the big blow up things that everybody's got now and all. No, I ain't got to do any of that crap. I got my time back, reclaimed my time there. And so, but there's just all these things that you're supposed to do. And it's not just that. But Christmas, to me, I just can't stand it. I've never liked Christmas. I literally stopped liking Christmas when I was maybe, I would say 15 years old. I would say by the time I was able to drive, I couldn't stand Christmas anymore. And this is a 3-hour conversation that I don't need notes for, because we can just go on and on and on about why Christmas sucks. And I don't hate it. I'm not against people spending time with their families and their people they care about. The best times I've ever had on Christmas or the holiday season, if we're going to count from Thanksgiving to Christmas, the best times I've ever had during those times of years, during those times of the year, were just hanging out with the people I care about the most. Either my good friends, best friends, family, my children, my significant other if I happen to have one of those. Um, but that's always it always becomes an issue though if I have one of those because I don't like to participate in all the stupid shit that I'm supposed to participate in. Um, and it's just like, I'm an asshole. Fine. I'm an asshole who didn't have to waste 3 days of my life doing dumb shit. So I'll accept that. Um, I don't know, man. We could just go on and on. But I don't hate holidays. My bunch went fishing today and sent me videos. Yeah. Like I've gone to movies. I took my son to go see a Star Wars movie on Christmas Day once. And the beautiful thing is it was the IMAX theater and we had the 3D goggles and it was like, full 3D movie. We were the only two people in the freaking movie theater that day. We had a whole movie theater to ourselves. And it was just me and my son. And this is like, okay, I'll tell you the whole day of Christmas that day because it kind of sucked, but it was awesome. His mother lives about an hour. I lived about an hour north of Pittsburgh. His mom lives half hour south or an hour south of Pittsburgh. I went all the way to his mom's house and picked him up instead of meeting where we normally meet. Because I don't care about driving, and B, I just figured we'd find a place to eat between there and the movie theater. I had plenty of time to find a place to eat. For whatever reason, we could not find a single restaurant anywhere in the city of Pittsburgh to eat that day. We wanted lunch. It didn't have Do we have sound? It's live, it says. I see no sound in the chat, but I don't know if it's back. We have okay. So the internet went completely down again. So I rebooted the router. That's why it took so long for me to pop back up. I decided the router was showing me no signal. So this is a T-Mobile problem. I'm not going to cut them too much hate because I've had pretty good luck with them since I moved here. Who knows what's going on? I mean, I've never had a perfect internet connection anywhere I've ever lived, no matter who the service provider was. But ever since I moved into this place here where I live, I haven't had too many issues with T-Mobile dropping my connection. So it's the T-Mobile home router. And so, but it definitely there was no signal at all. My phone was, everything went out. So, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. It did come right back on. So I rebooted the router. Maybe that'll help. If it keeps happening, I might just have to say, you know what? Later. Where did I leave off? We were talking about, but yeah, Christmas. It's just fitting. I can't stand Christmas, and here we are. I was talking about just all the traditions that you're supposed to do and, all that stuff. And they're like, well, don't you want to celebrate the birth of Jesus? And it's like, yeah. And what does dragging a tree into your house and covering it with a bunch of retarded shit and then lying to your kids about Santa Claus have to do with Jesus? Nothing. And Jesus wasn't even born on December 25th. I mean, the scholars say Jesus was born in the spring, probably on April Fool's Day. I have the Tinfoil Hat Society says that Jesus was probably born in the spring on April Fool's Day, and that's where the term April Fool's Day comes from, because you're an idiot, you're a fool if you believe that Jesus was born on Christmas. Christmas was a Roman holiday with all of the traditions that we currently, with a lot of the traditions that we follow on that holiday today, but they just turned it into, when they decided to control the people using Christianity instead of the previous religion, they just said, okay, we'll make that Jesus's birthday. That way, all the people who have their days off and their holiday plans won't get disrupted next year. We'll just be doing it for baby Jesus instead of, the god of war, Saturn, or, whoever, whatever god, Zeus, or whoever the hell it was the year celebrating. They just turned it into Jesus instead. And so, I am more of a fan. Like I don't hate any other holiday. I do hate Christmas, but I don't really despise any other holiday. And I don't know what um I don't know, like, I'm not opposed to people having a day off and, spending time with their families and all that. So that's where I left off when the internet killed me. Was the best times I've ever had at Christmas. I'll just give you a few examples where I'm just spending the day with either my one or both of my kids, people I care about, people that are in my inner circle, my best friend inner circles, um, those kinds of things. Those are the best Christmases. The low key, just hanging out, having a good time. We don't care that it's Christmas. We're just, we're spending time together. Um, so I took my son to see a Star Wars movie on Christmas Day, and this is where the internet cut out. Um, I picked him. His mom lives an hour south of Pittsburgh. I live an hour north of Pittsburgh. But I went all the way to his mom's house to get him instead of meeting her somewhere, because I figured it would give us time to go find a place to have lunch before we go to the movie. And I've gone out to dinner on Christmas Day before, but on this particular Christmas Day, I'm not kidding, there was not one single restaurant in the whole city of Pittsburgh open. And it could have even been McDonald's. If we had gone to McDonald's, my son would have been like, all right, he's like 11-year-old kid. He would have been like, yeah, it's cool, man. Get some meat, get some chicken McNuggets. McDonald's wasn't even open. I mean, we went everywhere because we had plenty of time. We ended up going to Sheets and getting cheese pretzels for lunch because that's all we could do. And then we get to the movie theater and we got popcorn and snacks or whatever we got at the movie theater. But when we went in to see the Star Wars movie, we had the big 3D goggles. It was on the big giant IMAX screen, and it was a huge one. And we were the only two people in the movie theater that day. So that was really dope. I mean, that was an awesome Christmas, in my opinion. And then we left the movie theater. Unfortunately, my son got sick, not because of the food, but he came down with something. Like, he was fine during the movie, but I could see him starting to kind of flake out on the way home, and he fell asleep in the Jeep. And when we got home, I woke him up and he was like, he went straight to bed. And then he was sick the next day, like not he was out of it. Like, he caught something. It wasn't because of all the nasty food, but that's all we could do. That's all we could eat. But we went and saw the Star Wars movie. We had a great time. It was very low key. It was just the two of us. And it was great. I loved it. I had a great time. There's been other examples like that where, I could think of a Christmas day where me and my best friends all got together and we just made a bunch of bomb food and we sat around playing video games all day. Or things like that. I mean, I'm cool with that. Like, I'm not opposed to having a day to spend with the people you care about, but the giant production around Christmas and all the stupidity that goes with it in our modern society, it just kind of rubs me the wrong way. And the materialism part of it and the fact that people act crazy. So yesterday I had to go to the bank, but I don't know what you've heard and what you didn't hear, but I got to the bank as the teller was locking the door in front of me because I had to make a deposit. So I'm like, crap. So I went around and I made the deposit in the ATM machine, but I was really trying to hope that I got it in before they closed for the day because I need that to be recorded as having been made yesterday. Because if not, then the date of the deposit becomes tomorrow, which means the money won't show up on my account till Monday or Tuesday. So because the holiday, and it's just another thing these holidays do because everything's closed. And for some reason that always becomes a problem for me for whatever. It's just bad timing, I guess. I'm not opposed to people getting a day off from their job and good, close the business for a day and let these people go be with their families or whatever. I don't, whatever. But it always does, like in this modern society that we live in, somebody's going to be willing to work. Like, why do they got to close early? Because somebody will want to be there. Somebody will be fine with being there. And it just, I don't know, like, oh, we care about people's families on this day, but not that other day. And there are just some places like, okay, hospital cafeterias are open on holidays. Yeah, because people get sick for Christmas. The nurses and doctors at the hospital can't take it off. I mean, some of them do, but there's always somebody willing to work there. And they're always like most places like that, you get like double pay, you get double your pay. Prison guards, when I was in prison guards still got to go to work on Christmas, but they end up making more money. They end up getting 2 to 3 times their hourly rate for those holidays if they get stuck working on a holiday. So most of them are cool with it. They'll work a double. They'll work 12 hours on a holiday because they're getting 12 hours at, $100 an hour or something like that instead of 25 an hour or whatever they end up normally making. And so it just, I don't know. Why does the bank got to close 2 hours early because it's Christmas Eve? Why can't they just be open? It's not everybody celebrates Christmas either. Like, not like like America is not a one religion country. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of Hindu holidays that we don't get a day off for, like we don't get day off for Muslim holidays. Why is it just, I don't know. Hold on a second. Like I said, another good, I wouldn't say it was a Christmas holiday for me, but it was something I did because it was the holidays. And if I could completely do what I want to do without any ramifications or consequence, I would disappear the Monday before Thanksgiving from the face of the earth and not reappear until the Monday after the 1st of January. I would just disappear for, the last half of November and all of December and go, what would I be doing? I'd be doing whatever I want. I'd go wherever I want. I'd do whatever I want. I wouldn't be working. I wouldn't be answering emails, phone. I would just, the only people I'm talking to are the people I want to talk to. And I would just vanish. Why? Because I want to, that's why. And, so I've done that in small doses. I remember a number of years ago, I don't remember exactly what year it was, but, my summer was busy and it was kind of like I was going through, I had a rough job and summer just kind of came and went. And I just in a blink of an eye, and I realized I didn't even enjoy my summer. Didn't do anything out in the heat. And that's important when you live up north and you've got, in Pennsylvania, you get about 3 months of summer. In Jamestown, New York, summer is literally the month of July. That's it. June is spring, July is summer, August is fall, the rest of the year is winter. So you got to take advantage of summer when it's there. Sometimes it gets real hot up there too. It can be hotter up there than it is here in Houston in the middle of summer. But this one summer, I didn't enjoy it. I was grinding away at a job and I just never got to do the things that I normally like to do when it's warm out. And so it started snowing really bad. It was about a week before Thanksgiving and it started coming down. The snow was coming down thick. And I was like, "Oh my God, this sucks." I was so upset about it. And so I kind of like had the ability to do this. So I sent an email to my boss and I said, "Hey, I think I'm just going to peace out for the next 2, 3 weeks. How's that sound?" Okay. It was like that. I mean, there wasn't anything going on that was critical for me to be there. So I'm like, I'm going to burn all my vacation time right now and I'll see you when I get back. How's that sound? Yeah, go ahead. So the next morning, I pack for a road trip. I get in my Jeep and I just I'm like, I'm going to go where it's still summer. So I just start driving south. But also, it's the fall. Maybe I can get some fall foliage pictures, but we're in November. We're at like Thanksgiving now. So, but there are places where you're at the tail end of the colors. Like there's maps that they make every year to track the fall color progression across the United States. And so you can use that to kind of plan out your trip. But I didn't plan anything out. I just got in my vehicle and started driving south, but on back roads. When I go on these road trips, I'll just take the back roads. And that way, when you see something you want to take a photograph of, you can possibly find a place to pull over, get out of the vehicle. It just, you have a lot more options to just live by the moment when you're taking back roads and just exploring like that. But you're definitely not making the same time that you would be if you were, what's the word? If you were, if you I'm gonna pull up some photos that I took on this trip. Um, let's see here. I'll just let this load up. Here we go. So screen share. There we go. So like this is one of the photos that I took, and I told the story about this photo before, but it was extremely cold, and I mean it wasn't. I was headed south. This was West Virginia, but it was bitter cold that morning when I took the sunrise photo. It was like 20 degrees. I was sleeping in a tent cot. It was 20 degrees outside in a windstorm. It was crazy. But I just kept working my way south on the back roads. And I worked my way down to this place called Seneca Rocks, which wasn't that far from there. So that was here. And I just kept working my way south and taking back roads. But that's the kind of stuff you can just pull over and do. Like, oh, I'm going to go to see Seneca Rocks. Let's see what's there. And you take these little side stops and check things out. And, oh, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. And you can just you don't have to plan out your day. You can just kind of wing it. And so I ended up getting all the way to Charlotte, North Carolina one day. And it was nice out. It was like in the mid 60s. So this was the first time I got to take off my coat and walk around, but I was in like jeans and a t-shirt or jeans and a hoodie. It was kind of right on the knife's edge. I did spend a night in a hotel there instead of camping. Got a hot tub suite. I'm always on the lookout for a cheap jacuzzi suite at a hotel, but the only way to get those deals is if you have to call hotels. You just have to wherever you are, you just pull up Google Maps, look at all the hotels and just start making calls. You got a hot tub suite, what's price? And you just kind of work and you wheel and deal, and you can find a jacuzzi suite for like $60 a night if you do that, if you play your cards right. Yeah, I'm going to sit in a hot tub like Tony Montana watching Pawn Stars on cable for the night, get back in my vehicle and be all refreshed and ready to rock again tomorrow, So, I mean, I was just having a good time on this photography trip. And so I ended up in Columbia, South Carolina, took some really cool photos of the city at sunset when the lights were just starting to come on in downtown, and hopped in my vehicle. And basically I just kept working my way south. I ended up in Fort Myers, Florida. And let's see, where was I so I was in Fort Myers. I camped there for a few nights at a state park had access to the beach. I went to the beach at Fort Myers. I went to the beach at Naples. I spent my days on the beach, swimming, taking photos. Got some beautiful sunset pictures of Naples, the beach at Naples, because it's on the Gulf Coast. So you got the sunset out over the water. Um, Ended up, and then I had, so anyway, I'm like, all right, I'm already here. May as well keep going south. I ended up in Key West. I just can't go any farther south. But I was like, you may as well just keep going south till you can't go south anymore. Key West. Here I am at the statue, the southernmost point statue, the famous one. I actually took some photos of the lines of tourists in front of the statue or the monument, because it's, when you're actually at these places in person, they're a lot different than what you see in people's photographs and what you see on TV. So I was taking a photo of like what it really is to be at this spot, not what people show you it is. Just this retarded ass shit show of like a line 3 blocks long of people waiting to get a selfie in front of a thing. Um, so I did that, and now I'm on the Keys, and I'm camping at this RV park on fake grass. It would almost look like a putt putt golf course. Just a place for me to put my tent cot and sleep at night. Um, but it was right next to the water. I mean, it wasn't so bad. It was cheap, and it was last minute, spur of the moment. But on Thanksgiving Day, I'm in the Keys Marathon, right in about the middle of the Keys. And so I hopped on a snorkeling boat, and I went out into the middle of the ocean and went snorkeling on Thanksgiving Day. Like everybody else is doing their, traditional Thanksgiving nonsense. I'm by myself on a road trip, just wanting to get some warmth and enjoy the sun in summer. And I'm out in the ocean snorkeling and hanging out with a barracuda and some turtles, sea turtles, on Thanksgiving Day, and then I'm eating barbecue at this restaurant that was right next to the where the boat goes for the snorkel trips. And so like that was a great Thanksgiving. That was a that was one of my favorite Thanksgivings ever, and it was because it wasn't Thanksgiving. and and so the same thing. I did the whole thing. I took the trip home the same way, just meandering wherever I ended up, exploring, going sightseeing, looking at things, taking photos, going on hikes, little adventures, um, looking for places I can camp. I have a map, a GPS app that I probably have over 1,000, maybe 2,000 places marked that I can camp. So if I'm east of the Mississippi River, all I got to do is pull up this app and I can see a red dot somewhere that says there's a campsite. It's within 2 hours. Let's go. Free campsite, or if it's something you got to pay for, it's worth marking. It's worth the $5 to $10 it's going to cost. Because I've been doing these kind of road trips for years, and so I'm just cattle. Every time I drive through a national forest and I pass a good place to camp, I have a button. Usually I have it on my wrist, or I'll have the phone on my dashboard, and I have an app running, and all I got to do is just hit boop, and just hit a bookmark button, and it just puts a dot on the map where I am. And then when I get home, I can tag all of those dots as to what they actually were. And so I can, as long as it's fresh in my head when I get home, I can just blast through all of my bookmarks and just make sure that I label them accordingly. This is a campsite, another campsite, a good view for a photographer, photographic view, or this, that, and the other thing. And just kind of, have a database of free places to camp all over the United States, primarily east of the Mississippi is where the density of it is, because I used to go between Pennsylvania and Florida and back all the time, and I would go lots of different ways and explore, so that I could just take a random trip and just get in the vehicle and just start driving and not have to worry about where I am at whatever day like whatever day it is and whatever time it is. Whenever I feel like, okay, it's time to go sleep, where do I go? Look at the map. Oh, I can go there. Boop. cue it up on the GPS and drive straight there. Um, and I do have favorites that I try to, I do keep a catalog in my head of which ones were awesome and which ones were just a place to sleep. And so I just have this data bank available to me anytime I want to travel like that. I can just like between Texas, between where I am and Pittsburgh, if I want to go on that road trip, um, I would have no problem. I would have no problem finding. I already have places in Alabama, Mississippi, two or three places in Mississippi that aren't far from here. Well, if I left in like the mid afternoon, I know where I'd can't. There's a really awesome place in Mississippi. I'd head straight for that. Um, all the way through, going all the way back home, Tennessee, Tennessee, um, uh, Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, all these. I never have a problem finding a place to crash. A beautiful, tranquil, awesome campsite with a fire and like some music going. Like, forget a hotel. This is where it's at. Sitting out in nature for the night and having a good time and just, cooking food and sitting by the campfire and just enjoying life. That's how I roll. And so I've done that on holidays before, where especially like the holidays where like 4th of July is probably my favorite holiday. But the one thing about 4th of July, Labor Day, and Memorial Day is that when you want to go out and do things out in the woods, like camping and stuff like that, it gets crowded because that's the corporate holidays for the summer where all the corporates get the day off. And so they're all flocking out to the woods and taking up all the good campsites. And, so you have to pick campsites that are places where an RV can't get to, places where the average, Jellystone Park Griswold family aren't going to know how to get to, places where there's no bathrooms, and showers and that kind of stuff. Like you want to go out like wildernessy stuff or just throw on a backpack and go for a hike. It's a really great time to go backpacking because when you go backpacking, you kind of do want to find other people back in the woods here and there because if something goes wrong on a backpacking hike and you're on like a weekend that nobody's going to be back there, you could get yourself in a world of shit. But if you're on Memorial Day weekend, 4th of July, or Labor Day weekend, going on a backpacking hike on the North Country Trail or the Appalachian Trail, and something goes wrong, someone's going to come by. Someone's going to come walking by at some point in the next 24 hours, probably a lot sooner than that, because a lot of people are going to be out there doing what you're doing. But it's still going to be secluded enough and remote enough that you still have that like time to yourself to spend with nature, and you're not going to be surrounded by people. But I do like the 4th of July probably more than any other holiday, and I don't know if it's because of our nation's independence when we kicked the British out, told them to you know Americans took their guns and said, you can either leave or you'll get shot. And that's what we celebrate on the 4th of July. People are going to be like, "Oh, Adam, don't cross that line. You're going to get in trouble." But that's exactly what the 4th of July was. And this coming 4th of July next year, 2026, is a special 4th of July because it is the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. So America will be celebrating its 250th birthday. But the problem is all the fireworks have been canceled because it looks like Erica Kirk is still grieving for her dead husband, and she's used up the entire fireworks supply of the United States. So there's not going to be anything left next year for the 4th of July. Unfortunately, slow your roll, Erica. When I don't know when she gets through the 5 stages of grief, but the 5 stages of grief that I can see, according to her, are pyrotechnics, grifting, book sales, talk show appearances, and taking over her husband's business. I don't know what this is. It 5 stages of grief, or I don't know which stage. She's still on the pyrotechnic stage right now. I don't know. But every time I turn around, this woman's showing up on a fucking stage with a bunch of fireworks going off. And it's like, I mean, man, we're not going to have any fireworks left for the nation's birthday on the 4th of July next year, thanks to her. Um, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I wish I could find a wife like that. I mean, maybe someday I'll be lucky enough to have a wife that if something happens to me, she goes on a nationwide book tour, throwing off fireworks parties every time she walks out on a stage. And I don't know, man. This whole thing with her is weird. Like, I kept my tinfoil hat I kept my tinfoil hat off to the side for a while when Charlie Kirk got shot or whatever happened to him at this point. Um, all I'm gonna say is there's been enough weird shit going on around that it just falls right into the category of a psyop as far as I'm concerned. There's definitely something going on there, and it's not what they tell you. What is really going on is not what they're telling you is going on. I mean, I hate to be accurate. I don't know. Like, did this girl just pull off the reverse OJ? Did she get away with getting rid of her husband so that she could take over the business and go on the book tour and raise the millions of dollars in his wake, and put a nice bankroll together before the whole, like, at some point that's just going to die off, and she's not going to be able to make any money off of this anymore, and she's just going to go away. um but she's never going to have to work another day in her life for sure. I mean, she's going to have mansions galore. This whole thing is just weird to me. The whole Donald Trump presidency, I'm totally like, I've totally like I've seen enough in the last several months. I don't know if you noticed, but every time somebody that Donald Trump nominates who might have been a good person, who had good intentions to go in there and do what Donald Trump said that person was going to do, they sit there for a few months, and then they leave with their tail between their legs and say, "Fuck this, I'm out. I'm leaving." Elon Musk uncovered all this government waste, all this wasteful spending, and all this money that they're throwing in the toilet. And then he's just like, you know what? Oh, they're not going to do anything about it. Oh, nobody's getting arrested. Oh, we're not going to stop wasting all this money and all these people get to keep doing it. All right, fuck it. I quit. Half of his Tesla dealerships were burned to the ground, and he went through all kinds of hell, and all the liberals got rid of their Teslas, and he took a major hit just to go in there to the government and uncover government waste and wasteful spending. And that's how he was repaid for it, by being told, yeah, we're not going to do anything about that. Thanks, but no thanks. Thanks for uncovering all that stuff. We're just gonna cover it back up. So thanks for all your hard work. And he's like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm out. And he left. And then he's like, oh, by the way, Donald Trump's a pedophile. And that's it. He's gone. And then you got like Dan Bongino. I don't know if these people had good intentions or not, but Dan Bongino's like, you know what? I'm getting the fuck out of here. Nothing's ever going to get done. Nobody's ever getting arrested. The pedophiles are going to keep raping kids. They moved from a private island to a dungeon somewhere because they had to go underground to do it. They can't just do it out in the open on their private island in the Bahamas or the Caribbean now. They have to do it in the basement of a fucking mansion or something now, and whatever. But they're still going to keep on keeping on because nothing's ever going to be, nobody's ever going to jail for any of this shit. And so the people that were hired to do that job are finding out that the whole government is so corrupt that they can't do their job. And now Donald Trump don't even have their back. Like, I feel like Donald Trump has become the biggest traitor, backstabbing piece of shit traitor America has ever seen since Benedict Arnold in the Civil War. Like, Donald Trump, and West Point is kind of a funny symbology there, because Benedict Arnold was about to hand over West Point to the British, and but he got caught, and they figured out the plot before it was to go down, and so they put a stop to it. But, Donald Trump comes from West Point. He went to West Point when he was younger. And he's the biggest traitor America's ever seen since Benedict Arnold. This guy does nothing. He does nothing. All I've ever seen Donald Trump do since he's been president is bitch, bitch, bitch on social media all day about how corrupt the government is. Yeah, asshole. That's why we hired you. That's why we hired you, because the president is if anybody is in a position to do something about that, the chief law enforcement officer in the United States, which happens to be the president, might be in the best position to affect change and to do something about that. But all he does is bitch. He just bitches on his shitty Twitter copycat website, just bitches about the government all day and doesn't do anything. And then when he brings people in that try to do something, he doesn't even let them do their job. So I'm over it. I'm done with him. I've seen who he is, and I got nothing to say to him. I got nothing positive. Like I'm done with any kind of hope. I know we had two crappy options to pick from when it came to Donald Trump or the other one, that dingbat. So you knew what you were going to get if you voted for her. You knew what you were going to get if you voted for Hillary Clinton. You knew what you were getting if you voted for Joe Biden. And we got exactly what you knew you were going to get. So, I'm not saying that like one choice was better than the other, but Donald Trump was the one you didn't know. You're like, well, he could be all right. He's probably a deep state scumbag who's just going to go in there and train wreck this country anyway. But at least with him, you didn't know. The other ones, you know what you're getting. So, I don't know. I probably could have been a little more prepared for the actual topic of tonight, which was Christmas. But, I'm just going to wing it. Feel free to feel free to talk in the chat. Looks like the internet, knock on wood, that looks like the internet is stable right now, so we can hang out. If it goes down again, I don't know. We're an hour into this. I've done my part. I showed up for the stream. I'm just looking at the different chats. But it's all it's all no sound, internet's bad, whatever, winter solstice. Yeah, so we just went through the winter solstice. And so I don't know how. What should I talk about next? We can just talk about the thumbnail of the video, which is Santa Claus. This is the big one. This is one of the big ones for me. When I've talked about this, but I'm going to talk about it again because it's Christmas, and maybe somebody watching didn't see the last time I talked about it. But one of the things I would never do is participate in telling my kids Santa Claus is real. I wasn't such a Ebenezer Scrooge or a Grinch that I would stop other people from doing it, because it was coming from every direction. My parents were telling my daughter about Santa Claus. My uncle was the town Santa Claus. So when we go back and see my family, my uncle's showing up in a Santa Claus suit. Like, he goes around the whole town. He's the fire chief, and he would go around the whole town dressed up like Santa Claus and go to all the kids' houses. It's a cool thing to do, like, I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He's bringing cheer and happiness to children all over town. And, I got no beef with the guy for that, but I am just saying I don't play that game. I would not participate in lying to my kids about Santa Claus. And some girl one time, she was a Christian girl, and she goes to church, and she was asking me, why don't I participate in Santa Claus? And I'm like, you go to church regularly, and you don't think there's something wrong with that. And so I was explaining, I'm like, Santa Claus is one of the biggest ones, because he's the one that all the kids get excited about, because that's when all the big toys are coming for usually most kids for Christmas get more stuff than they would get for their birthday. all because of this jolly fat man in a red suit that breaks into your house in the middle of the night and leaves a bunch of stuff under a tree. Who honestly, like, that's more retarded to, like, who even came up with this idea? Guy in a bright red suit will break into your house in the middle of the night as long as you drag a tree from the woods into your house and hang a bunch of stupid shit on it. This guy's going to break into your house in the middle of the night, leave gifts for your children. Like, it don't even make sense. Like, the first guy that drank milk makes more sense than Santa Claus. Like, who the hell's the first guy that drank milk? Like, the very first guy who tried milk, and he goes running over to his friend. He's like, man, oh, you got to try this shit. It's really good. Like, he's like, and then everybody's like, okay, yeah, sure. And he was like, I tried the one with the horns last time, but that didn't work out so good. But this one's great. Like, the very first person who tried milk. That makes more sense than this whole story about this fat guy in a red suit who breaks into your house in the middle of the night as long as you put a tree in your house and cover it with a bunch of crap. Like, I've smoked a lot of weed in my life. I could make Snoop Doggy Dogg pass out if we want to get into a bong ripping contest, and I still couldn't come up with that as a lie to tell the kids. I mean, somebody really went to town on that one. But so Santa Claus is just this make-believe guy who leaves presents for you, and Santa Claus is not, I mean, Santa and Satan are basically the same word, just rearrange a couple of letters, and Claus. So is it Santa Claus or is it Satan's claws? And is this just how Satan gets his claws into your children? Because here's what's happening. You lied to your kids about Santa Claus, leaving all these presents under the tree. And then when your kid's like 10, 12 years old, you're like, oh, yeah, that was bullshit. You lied to your kids about the Easter Bunny, leaving eggs filled with candy all over the house and a basket of candy on the table every year. This freaking rabbit, this giant rabbit, also breaks into your house and leaves a bunch of candy everywhere. And then you've got the tooth fairy who, every time you lose a tooth, you'll find money under your pillow because this fairy, this chick breaks into your house and leaves a bunch of money under your pillow. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, that was all bullshit. Sorry, kid. Sorry to break it to you. That was all a lie. And then when your kid's 18 years old and doesn't believe in Jesus, you wonder why? Well, you just got done telling your kid that Santa Claus is bullshit, the Easter Bunny's bullshit, the Tooth Fairy is bullshit, and who knows what other crap you told them that was real when they were kids, and then you lied to them, and then you go, oh, never mind, we were just full of shit. So why would they believe in Jesus? Why would they believe in Jesus at that point? You just filled their head with so much crap. Now they don't know what to believe. So I wouldn't do that. I did not participate. I did not participate in lying to my kids about the Tooth Fairy, Easter Bunny, Santa Claus. For Easter, the only thing I would really do for my kids is get them a gift. Just buy them something, a gift, give it to them, put it out on the table, be like, yeah, that's for you. For Christmas, you think I'm going to I busted my ass all year to buy some expensive gifts for my kids. And I'm going to give credit to some fat loser who broke into my house in the middle of the night and say, oh, he's the one who brought all the, no, daddy did that. I took credit for it. I'd be like, yeah, daddy got you all this stuff. Santa Claus didn't do that. Your daddy took care of you this year. Santa Claus isn't, I didn't go so far as to say Santa Claus isn't real, but my kids can tell you that I never said Santa Claus was real. But I would, you walk that tightrope when you're in a family or you're in a relationship, like, oh, you're going to go, if you're married and your wife wants to tell your kids all this bullshit about Santa Claus, you got to make a choice. Do I want to get laid between Thanksgiving and Christmas? Or do I want to have a dry spell that lasts until Christmas and no blowjobs until June? I guess I'm going to have to lie to my kids about Santa Claus because the wife made me. And I mean, thank God I'm not married because I can't live like that. But that's what it is. That's what it is. The guys just go along with it because the girl, well, I'm not going to get any pussy, so I got to do what I'm told. And that's how they do it. That's how they do it. And that's why Satan goes after the women, because he knows if he can make the women believe, the woman believes, oh, I'm not going to marry a guy unless he spends 50 grand on a ring. Okay. Like, they that's what all these Disney movies are for these little girls, to teach them how to be a princess, and that, don't marry a guy unless he spends 50 large on a diamond, and all these other things. And then they grow up to be these awful people. And I'm not saying that all women are like that, but you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a hard time if you're looking for that diamond in a rough. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Good luck. Good luck looking for one of the good ones. You'd have a better chance taking a shovel out in your backyard and looking for a diamond. So I don't know. It just Christmas, the commercialism, it's like the epitome of the commercialism, and it starts right after Thanksgiving when everybody's trampling over each other for Black Friday. Like, they're going to get into a stampede and stomp on each other, and people probably die on Black Friday because they get trampled by a stampede of retards all trying to get to Walmart to save 20% on a TV. And it's like, even the Black Friday deals aren't that good. I mean, there were some Black Friday deals for Amazon that I was interested in, but only because I saw them pop up one day and I'm like, I need hard drives. And that was the cheapest hard drives I'd seen all year. And they were significantly cheap. But by the time I had the money to do it, they were gone. So whatever. But I didn't have to climb over bodies and piles of corpses and trample and basically be in a mosh pit at Ozfest just to get a fucking hard drive. If I would have bought one at like Best Buy or whatever. Like, I don't go to the stores for that stuff. And it's just, everything is so materialist these days. Like, there's always some trendy toy. I don't pay any attention to that crap because, back when I was little, you had 3 TV stations unless you were lucky enough to have cable. And so every year they're just pumping the same garbage at you. One year it's the Cabbage Patch Kid. The next year it's Tickle Me Elmo. There's always some trendy toy that every kid is supposed to have. And then the parents are basically like beating the shit out of each other to get one. Like, you get the last Tickle Me Elmo doll at Toys R Us, and you've got 7 soccer moms beating the shit out of you with their purses trying to take it from you. And you get out in the parking lot and people are chasing you down saying, I'll give you $1,000 for Tickle Me Elmo right now. And like, just going fucking crazy just to get their kid a stupid toy. Like, chill the fuck out, people. I can't stand it. And like, all this stuff. But it really, the irony is not lost on me that people are at their absolute worst behavior for the holiday that's supposed to be Jesus Christ's birthday. Like, why wouldn't they behave why wouldn't the people be the worst behaved that they are the entire year if it weren't for Jesus's so-called birthday? And so, like, the whole thing yesterday just rubbed me the wrong way. I had to go to the bank. The bank closes early. I still got my check in the machine. It's up to the bank. It's out of my hands. I did what I could do in the situation. And, God's going to make it all work out, and the bills will get paid and rent will get paid. And, my car has been working since I picked it up from the shop. So, things are okay. I'm not totally I'm not as miserable as I sound right now, for sure. I'm just a little bit today because I just don't like this day. My daughter and I had a conversation today, and she's over it. She's a lot like both of my kids are a lot like me, but they're so different from each other. But they both have my personality, but different parts of my personality, I guess you could say. But my daughter, oh my god, she learned how to be tough from her dad when it comes to her career, is that's what she was on. She was on a kick today about her job, and I want to get into the details of it, but just listening to her, like, she will fight and she will stand up for herself, and I take credit for that. I taught her that her whole life. Like, she saw me fight to stand up for myself and to take care of them and to do all of the, she saw me fight tooth and nail to get where I got in life, and didn't take, I wouldn't take no for an answer, and I wouldn't accept the status quo, and I would do what I felt was right and stand up for myself if I'm being shit on or whatever the case may be. And I see my daughter doing the same thing now, to the point where I'm almost like, you might want to be a little more tactful. Like, but I know she talks to me one way and she probably presents herself different professionally, because I do that too. Like, I'm definitely, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do this and that, but I will go in there and do this and that, but I'll do it in a more professional, tactful way. That, because when you keep your cool in a situation like that, it when you undermine somebody and you're playing that cutthroat game, and you do it with a smile on your face while you're keeping your cool, it has a much more lasting and devastating effect than if you just, go all ghetto and start yelling and throwing a fit. And so she learned that. I taught her how to play the game, and she's doing well. She's doing well. And her mom didn't teach her that. I can tell you that. And then I was talking to my son today, and he started going to vocational school to do graphic design, and kind of like, I didn't know how serious he was about it, but he seems like he wants to follow in my footsteps, and he's serious about it. He said today, he's talking about how, um he's going to like I said, he's going to vocational school for graphic design, and I don't know the exact name of the program, but he says right now they're learning photography and Photoshop and image manipulation and stuff like that. And this is the first year of a 3-year program that he's in, 2 to 3 hours a day. And so I'm like, kid, I'm like, that if you want to be at the head of your class, all you got to do is send me a text. We'll open up a Zoom meeting. Like, your dad's got 30 years on his belt. I'll teach you everything I know. And so that'll be nice. That'll be, actually, if he takes me up on that, to do like to teach him how to use Photoshop. And I already taught him I already taught him how. I told him I was going to dig up all of his photographs, because he would go on photo trips with me, and I would give him a camera. I'd give him a DSLR, and he knew how to use it. I taught him how to use it when he was like 8 years old. And so he understands aperture, shutter speed, how to use a camera, like all the ins and outs of it. And he's got some really bomb pictures that you wouldn't believe an 8-year-old kid took, without me telling him what to do, because I'm busy. I'm busy, kid. I gave you the rundown, but now we're out in the field. Daddy ain't got time to teach you how to use a camera. You're on your own today. Just do the best you can. And I would get his film. I would get his camera card and open up all the images and be like, holy shit. His photos would be just as good as mine in a lot of ways. And he'd have some junk on there. And so would I. I mean, nobody's going to have a perfect camera roll, but he has some bangers. He has some really good photos, nature photos and stuff like that. And he knew what he was doing. He knows what shutter speed to use with the focal length of the lens, and like he knew how to do it. I mean, he not perfect, but for an 8-year-old kid, I'll have to show you some of these photos. You'd be blown away. But I told him, I'm like, I'll send you all of your photos, your raw camera files, and I'll teach you how to do your own image editing and, prepare your photos for sale if you wanted to do that. Got D Jewel from Jamestown Rocket. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean, dog. Um so but anyway, that was a nice conversation because my son doesn't like to talk. My daughter likes to talk a lot. I could take my son on a 3-week road trip, just me and him, traveling the country, camping, living out of a pickup truck and tents and hammocks and whatever we lived in on any particular night. Dude would say I'd get 2 sentences out of him in a 3-week trip. I'd try. He'd just be like, uh-huh, yeah, uh-huh, okay, sure. I guess about it. And you can add up all of the words that he said over 3 weeks. Probably adds up to about 2 sentences worth of conversation. So it's just me talking to him. And my daughter's the opposite. Forget it, man. If you get her talking, you could just set the phone over here, check in every now and then. Okay, yep. And so, I can be both. I can talk. You see me, I can sit here and talk for 3 hours on a YouTube chat with you guys. But there are other days where you put me in a room full of people and I don't want to say nothing. I just want to sit and absorb and observe humanity and not participate in it. So I have both sides of that. But my kids embody part of me like permanently. But my son's talking to me more now when I call him, and it feels good that he's kind of broken out of that that stuff he was in when he was a kid. I can't even really call him a kid anymore. Um and the fact that I really haven't seen him since he was 12 years old, it drives me crazy. So like every time I hear his voice, it's deeper than it was before. Like it doesn't even sound like the same kid anymore. And I've seen him one time since he was 12 years old. And most of that is the fault of, you know, being thrown out into the street to be homeless before I ever had a chance to get on my feet, just tossed to the trash and having to take evasive action, which forced me to end up in Houston, 2,000 miles away from them without really any. uh, Honestly, if I could find a job in Pittsburgh, I'd pack up and go back. But when I say that, I also look out the window and it's 80 degrees right now. That's a hard that I mean, granted, I mean, I do like my kids. I want to spend time with them, but I mean, it may how about maybe you kids could come down here and chill with your dad where it's 80 degrees on Christmas Day and it's not 3 feet of snow. I mean, I could go on a bicycle ride. I'm doing it on Saturday. I'm 52 miles away from 4,000 miles for the year on my bicycle. And if I ride the long distance way to and from the bakery on Saturday, I will either be at 4,000 miles or I will be within like 3 miles of it. So I think I'm just going to do it. I know I'm just going to do it. So tomorrow at some point, I've got to charge up the batteries, lights, whatever I need, the music system, the 2 speakers, and just make sure get a playlist together and just make sure that I'm ready to rock Saturday to get my 50-mile. If I can turn it into a 26-mile ride each way by taking the absolute longest way that I can take to get there and back, combining different bike trails and maybe like a little side skirt or little zig instead of a zag here and there just to add a little quarter mile here, quarter mile there, I might be able to get the 52 miles I need on Saturday. I've already preloaded clothing at the bakery. I've already put clothes in the locker, so it's one less thing I have to carry with me when I do it. So that's something I'm trying to do because I don't want to wake up on January 1st and realize that, well, you almost did 4,000 miles, but you were one ride away from not doing it. That would just make me feel stupid. And even though I don't want to do it on Saturday, let's take a look at what the weather's supposed to be. I mean, let's just take a quick look here. Screen. So we're at today. Oh, it's 71 degrees right now. My bad. Let's see. What are we at? 10-day forecast. Saturday, 82, with a low of 67 the previous night. So it's going to be about, it's going to be like at 6 in the morning, it's going to be like 67 degrees when I leave the house. I'm not even going to have to wear long sleeves. I'm not even going to have to take a hoodie for that. It's already going to be hot when I leave the house. 67 degrees. If it was 60 degrees, I'd put on a long sleever, like a long sleeve jersey. I wouldn't put anything on thick, but I'd put something on because there will be a chill in the air, but not at 67 degrees. We'll just have to see what it feels like when I open the door and walk outside for a second Saturday morning. But yeah, I mean, come on. It's going to be 82 degrees on Saturday. And then Monday, what are we looking at Monday? Ooh, a little bit colder. So if I don't quite make it to the 4,000 miles, 83 degrees on Sunday. But overnight, it's going to be 45, 50 degrees high on Monday. So it's going to be like 45 when I leave in the morning. So that's kind of like the limit of 45 degrees. I won't wear shoe covers, but it's right on the limit. Anything below 40 degrees, I'm putting shoe covers on to keep the cold air off my feet. But that's right on the limit. 45 degrees. Once you warm up for like 15, 20 minutes, it's supposed to be 50 and sunny Monday during the day. And then where are we at? 53, 61, 70, 75 for the second. I mean, Wednesday the 31st is going to be 61 degrees. I mean, I don't know. Well, New Year's Eve, we won't be open late. So I don't know. It's basically Saturday. I just got to make sure that all my cycling totals to 52 miles and I'm good to go. And Monday, if it's cold, I can just drive. Swap out all my clothes, the dirty clothes, with another stash of clean clothes, and then ride another day. I'm definitely not going to set a 4,000 mile goal for 2026 on the bicycle, but I do have to set some fitness goals. Like, I'm not a New Year's resolution guy. I don't like to do the whole new year, new me nonsense, but there's a lot of stuff, like just timing wise, that feels like it's about to like take off in life right now. Like I'm at some sort of turning point, that leveling up situation that we talk about a lot on this channel, that right before you're about to level up in some major way, everything just kind of breaks loose, goes crazy, it just kind of like goes off the rails, because it's like when you're playing a video game and you're on like level 4 and you get to the end of level 4, there's a boss. There's a big boss at the end of the level, and you've got to beat the boss, and it's going to be a pain in the ass, and you might die a bunch of times. You might have to try to do it like 6 times, 10 times before you beat the boss and you move on to level 5. But when you get to level 5, the first half of the level, you're on like cruise control, because you just glide through. The beginning of the next level is almost always easier than the end of the previous level. But by the time you get to the end of the next level, it's significantly harder than the end of the previous level. But they almost, like in good game design, they give you a break each time you level up, where you can just kind of cruise and chill out for a minute and take a break while you're still playing the game before it really ramps up and gets difficult again. And so every time, the last time I leveled up was when I bought my car. And I was on cruise control for about a month, and then things started to get a little more difficult. October, the end of October got a little bit more crazier. The month of November was even more crazy, and December really been off the rails. So I feel like I'm probably fighting the boss right now, and I just don't know. I don't know exactly where the leveling up is going to come from. Is it going to be my career? Is it going to be some other department? But something is in the air and something's going to break one way or another. I just don't know what, where, or how. But I know I'm about to level up in some way. I just don't know what way it is. And but it just that spidey sense, that sixth sense, the discernment, the signs and wonders, the synchronicities that come from God, all those kinds of things are just kind of pounding me right now in lots of directions, and it's kind of wearing me down, just the amount of it. And so, and it's time, the timing of it is right at the end of December when everybody's doing new year, new me. Like, am I going to go join a gym? Probably not. Cause like, that's the most cliche thing of all. Go sign up for a fitness membership so I can go to the gym for 2 weeks and then never show up again. Cause that's what everybody does. Oh, I'll go to the gym the end of January. The gym's empty again. All the New Year's resolution people coming in on January 1st. February, by the end of February, the gym's empty, back to normal. And I don't want to be that guy, but my fitness situation needs to happen. Like, the bicycling isn't enough. The bicycling is not enough. It's good. And the fact that I've rode my bike a few times in the last few weeks, a significant distance, and, just kind of showed myself where I'm at. My fitness really didn't drop that much since I got my car, but enough that I notice it. 3-4 more bicycle rides, I'll be right back where I was. I could see it on Strava, just looking at my heart rate zones, average speed, comfort on the bicycle, and all that kind of stuff. I went on like 3 bike rides in a fairly short succession from one to the next to the next. And there was I noticed a big jump each time I got back on the bike. So I took 2 months off, but when I jumped back on, it was rough. And then 2 more rides, it'll be like I never stopped. But the bicycling doesn't do everything. It's not a full body. I really want to join a gym. I just don't want to join it on January 1st. I just don't want to be that guy. And I don't want to get sucked into a situation where I can't cancel a gym membership. That's the big one. That's the reason why I don't, because these gyms are just crooked and stupid, and I don't like the way that they make it. They're like the mafia. You can join, but you can never leave. The only way you get to leave the mafia is in a wooden box or an urn. Make your choice. But or you just disappear and nobody, you end up like Jimmy Hoffa. You disappear, nobody knows what happened. But that's the only way you get to leave, and that's the same with the gym. Once you join the gym, you can't quit. There's no way to cancel. You can't shut it off. If you're having a tight month, if bills are getting tight, if you lose your job, whatever the case may be, that you might have to cancel the membership for a minute, they're just like, yeah, you got to cancel the credit card before you can cancel the gym membership. And I don't really have any credit cards right now, and I don't really want any, but I might try to go get one. Just if I can get a credit card separate from a debit card, almost solely to put a gym membership on, I might do it. Because like I said, if I need to cancel the gym membership, I can just cancel the card. So I don't know. I got to rebuild my credit somehow. That was part of everything I lost when the FBI drove the tank into my living room. I lost everything. I had I had good credit. I had 20 fucking credit cards, most of which were unused and underutilized, but I had close to $20,000 worth of available credit, and I was only using 4 of it. And the only reason I'd had that much debt was because I got fired from a job for not taking the shot, even though it was a remote job. And I had to live off of credit cards for 5 months, racked up about 10 grand in debt to survive. And then when I started a new job, I had paid off 6,000 of the 10 in the span of about 4 months. So I wasn't fucking around. I would have been debt free another 4 months. Um, but then when the FBI drove that tank into my house, I lost everything, including my credit score. And so you got to start rebuilding at some point. If I remember when I started building my credit and took it more seriously, like I had some credit, but when 2020 came around, I had the bright idea. It's like, hey, man, if we're going into the end times and everything's about, like you got to go and buy your bullets, your bread, and your butter and stock up for the end times, may as well have $20,000 worth of credit available because you can just run to the store, swipe that card until the credit runs out, and then peace out, bitches. It's the apocalypse. Like, who's paying their credit card debt off during the apocalypse? But I've got a house full of bullets, butter, and bread on the bank's dime. So I figured the more credit I have, the more I can go ham when the apocalypse hits. And as long as the credit card swiping machines are still working for the first couple of days of the apocalypse, I'm going to be well prepared. Just that last minute prepper run, that $20,000 stock up before everything shuts off. Yeah, boy, we're going to be living large. And I mean, we're all going to be walking away from our credit card debt by that time. When that shit goes down, nobody's paying their bills anymore. So may as well smoke them while you got them. So that's why I had gone and ramped up my available credit over a couple of years, just in case that's the game we were going to have to play. But I had no intention of going out and racking up debt. It was just nice to have, especially with all the traveling I used to do. It was nice to be able to put all of my expenses of a trip on a piece of plastic and have my cash and my actual money available for an emergency, and just diversify a little bit and just have that padding available while I'm traveling. If something goes wrong with the vehicle or whatever, I got to go to some auto garage and get ripped off 2,000 miles away from home. Swipe. I don't got to worry about spending all my cash. Buy now, pay later. But anyway, those days are gone. Those days are gone. A year and some change ago, I wanted to try and look for a car. Capital One was like, get out of here. Hell no. I couldn't even get approved for a ghetto credit card. Like, the U.S. ghetto bank would not approve me for one of their awful, like, with 150% interest with a $75 credit limit or whatever that they give people in the ghetto. They wouldn't even give me one of those credit cards. And so I'm like, I tried a few times just to laugh, but last month, whatever, when my car problems were beginning to be grinding on me and making me wonder what I should do, all of a sudden Capital One said, oh, all right, we'll give you a loan now. We'll give you an auto loan. We'll pre-approve you. You're still going to have to prove that you make the income that you say you do, but we'll give you a loan. We'll pre-approve you for that. So they approved me for a car loan, which they wouldn't do a year ago. And when I was trying to figure out how to pay for my auto repair, I got approved for a private issue credit card. That's what they're called in the business, but it's from Synchrony Bank, which is a credit card bank. I mean, I used to have a credit card from them back in the day, but they gave me a basic credit card with a $500 limit that I can use at auto garages and for auto repairs and stuff like that. It's a private issue credit card. It's not Visa, MasterCard, or Discover, but it's valid at merchants that in the automotive business. So I was able to offload $500 of my car repair onto this card and pay it off interest free for 6 months. At which point I hope I can pay it all off in a month and just have that credit available in case I need to do something else to my car and I'm in a jam. Um, and it's great because I don't have to pay interest on it or any fees. And so I couldn't get approved for anything like that a year ago. So I don't know what I did because I really haven't been trying to clear my name or to get credit or to fix the problems that I have. But, the sharks are swimming in the water now. They're like, "All right, we got another one. We can." So now they're pecking at me and they're testing the waters. They're sending me offers in the mail now like, "Oh, we got another credit card for you." And so, I'm not trying to get more, but maybe as part of like leveling up with the body, the fitness. If my whole body looked like my legs, I wouldn't have a problem getting a girlfriend. I mean, I'd have to carry around a can of bear spray. Just get away, psst, get away, because everywhere I go, they'd be chasing me down. If the rest of my body looked like my legs, but it don't, because the fact that the bicycling only does certain muscles of your body, but it leaves the big fat belly alone. And the eating 1,000 calorie cookie every time I go to that bakery isn't helping the situation. So I don't know. I think the only way to fix it is to go to the gym. That's what I did when I was in Club Fed. I had a personal trainer who led a group of us on a fitness journey. And I lost 40 pounds in 4 months and well rounded. I was in probably the best. When I came home from the joint, I was in the best physical shape of the last 25 years of my life. I was fit, very fit. Surprise, like I'd look at my own body and be like, my God, dude. And I'd go to the grocery store and women would just be hitting on me every time I go down another aisle. Girls were chasing me around the fucking grocery store and I didn't act on it because I wasn't, I just came out of that situation and I was living with my ex, even though she was awful. I just figured like if I start if I start if I start having, if I start messing around with girls while I'm living with her, even though she's not my girlfriend anymore, she's a psychotic nut job. Maybe that probably would have made my situation even worse. So I just left it alone. I went clothes shopping at Target. I just went to because I needed to buy a nice shirt for a job interview, and this one girl pretty much threw herself at me, and she was like, just saying, like, but as soon as I gained 15 pounds or so, that stopped. There's a certain weight that if I hit, it's like an exact weight, 212 pounds. If I'm lighter than 212 pounds, I got to carry around a bear spray or mace or something. I got to carry around a club to beat these things off me that won't leave me alone. But if I'm a pound above 212, the girls don't want nothing to do with it. He's an ugly man. He's got a dad bod. Ooh, ew. So it's 212 pounds. I don't know. Don't ask me why I know the exact weight, but it's an exact number. 211 pounds, 211 pounds and below all day long. 213 pounds, forget it. May as well stay home. it's and right now I'm rocking 225 to 230 right now. So I'm well above that. I'm well above, like I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't want to ask me out either. I wouldn't chase after me in the supermarket either. So, but it don't take long. I mean, 4 months, 40 pounds, I can drop it. I can go back to being in shape in so fast and make your head spin. Because every time I do it, I'm an athlete by nature. I've been an athlete my whole life, and an athlete can jump back and forth fast. Somebody who's been an athlete their whole life, you can just turn it on and off. So, but the cycling can only take me so far. The cycling combined with going to the gym and doing yoga, spinning classes and yoga classes, along with doing weightlifting and like the weightlifting and stuff would fix me. That would fix me. or like a CrossFit kind of class. And the best deal, as far as all the amenities and the classes and everything else and the bang for your buck, LA Fitness is the best bang for the buck. But their cancellation policy is so horrid that it's the only reason I haven't joined. Because when I lived in that tool shed around the corner from here, I could walk. There was an LA Fitness half a mile away from where I lived. I could walk there. I was thinking about just doing it to go use the showers because my shower was, I could just go there to take a shower and work out and whatnot. Now that one's a little bit farther, but the LA Fitness I actually want to go to, the nice one in the Woodlands where all the rich people go, the one that's well maintained and it's clean and everything works and the sauna works and the hot tub works and there's no sign that says, the sauna's broke for the next 6 years. Like that's all over in the Woodlands and I could drive my car there and go there. I already looked at their class schedule and I already know how I would do it. Like certain days of the week, I would go take 1 or 2 classes. And in between the classes, I could go work out on the weight machines and stuff. Basically drop 4 hours at the gym twice a week, along with cycling. It would only take 4 months and I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to be walking down a runway with my shirt off. You know what I mean? But I'll look good, in a mirror. I'll be able to look in the mirror and say, yeah, you got it back. And it would only take 4 months. CrossFit's way too expensive. Way too expensive. There's a bunch of CrossFit gyms right around the corner from me, but it's like $200 to $400 a month. LA Fitness is like $50 a month or less. I don't even know. It's less. And you get all the classes and stuff. And so I don't know. Swimming, they got a Olympic size swimming pool. Swimming is another one. Friggin', I love to swim. Swimming, oh my God, swimming will get you in shape so fast. So fast. And you go and swim laps for an hour or even tread water and just swim casually. As soon as you climb up that ladder, you feel like what the astronauts feel like when they come back from the space station and you feel gravity for the first time in 90 months, and those people were, Joe Biden had those astronauts stuck up in space for 900 days or something like that, like 6, like almost 3 years or something. He just let them fucking rot up there. And when they finally brought the astronauts back down to Earth, could you imagine? That'd be like being in a swimming pool for 3 years and then having to climb that ladder and be like, holy shit, gravity's real. Oh, go swim for an hour and climb that ladder and get out of the pool and see how you feel and see what gravity feels like. It's awful. It's insane. It just makes you want to get back in the pool and never come out. And, but that will get you in shape. Fast. That'll get you in shape fast. Soccer. If I could play soccer, if I could find a soccer league, I think that one's a little bit too tall of a stretch. Frisbee golf. It's nice to go for a walk. It works out your arms a little bit. Ultimate Frisbee. I love Ultimate Frisbee. I don't run. I can ride a bike. I can ride a bicycle 174 miles in a day. And that's my top. I tried to do 200 miles in a day. I got to 174 and had to tap out. I can do that, but I can't run a mile. But I can play soccer all day and I can play Ultimate Frisbee. I'm basically like a dog. As long as I'm chasing after a ball or a Frisbee, I'll run all day. Or chasing after the bitches. I can run all day. But I can't just run. Like a marathon, I can't run a 5K without having to walk. I can go like 2Ks. And by the 3rd K, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm walking. This is not fun. I've done many 5Ks and I've never ran a full 5K without walking some of it. but I can ride a bicycle 174 miles in a day and be fine and get up and do it. The day after the 174, I did 150. The next day, I've gone on 800-mile bicycle rides, doing over 100 miles a day for 6 straight days, and no problem there. But I can't run a mile. It hurts. Like I can't even do it. I can't explain it either, but I can play soccer. I can play a whole 90 minutes of soccer. I can play ultimate frisbee, which is about as much running as soccer. Um, and I'll do okay. Soccer takes some first day out on the field is going to be a rough one. By the end of the season, I'm going to be a tank. Like by the end of the season, I can run the whole 90 minutes and not stop, but I still won't be able to run laps around a track. It's just something about running I hate. I think it's just my foot structure, my body structure. Running and I don't get along. Swimming, cycling, yes. Triathlon sounds fun until the run. Cycling and swimming sound great, but now, oh, you mean I got to run too? Oh, no, I don't think I'm doing it. You have fun. I'm going to stay home. So I don't know. I don't think I hike. I can hike all day. I can hike rugged terrain up and down mountains. I can hike like crazy, but running is a whole new thing. So, but it's all these different things. Like the universe is telling me. I hate the fact that it's all happening on January 1st, basically, but the universe is telling me it's time to make a couple of tweaks so that you can get to the next level, because life's about to get a lot more crazy and busy than it was this year. And since I'm kind of off topic here, but you got like if you look at life as like a triangle, you got 3 points, right? 3 points of the triangle. No, this isn't the Illuminati, right? But I'm just making a point here. You got a triangle, you got a point, and then you got 2 other points, right? You got the triangle. Each point of the triangle represents one of the 3, or you could look at it like 3 pillars that you have to have in check in order for you to have your life in balance. This is part of what I want to talk about when I start going back to doing long format YouTube videos again, where they're edited. I told you I'm working on one. I still am. This is part of why I've got to figure out a way to manage my time so that I can do all the things I want to do. But here are the 3 things, right? You got your health, your wealth, and your relationships. I wish health and wealth rhymed. I wish there was a word for relationships that rhymed, so that, because my marketing spidey sense doesn't like health, wealth, relationships, health, wealth, and something else. But that's the 3 pillars: your health, your wealth, your relationships. If any of those things are out of sync or struggling, they'll bring the other 2 down with it. If you're going through a bad period with your health, even if it's something like you got cancer, well, we all know that a period of time with bad health and you're spending time in the hospital, there goes your wealth. It's all going to the hospital. Your relationships, may or may not come into play there. In my situation, before the FBI drove a tank into my living room and dragged me off to the camp, my health was actually a little bit worse than now, but not by much. You could say they were kind of the same. My wealth was on point, better than it had ever been in my life. My relationships were pretty damn good. I was a dad. My son practically lived with me. I had a good relationship. I had friends. I had a good life. These 3 pillars, they were all being maintained in some way, shape, or form. And when one would start to slack, it would get attention. And then, if you're putting all your attention on one, the other two might get neglected and start to fall. It's kind of like the clown at the circus that's spinning the plates on top of the poles, and he's just got to keep running around and spinning the plates, because if he stops, all the plates are going to fall and break all over the floor. So you got to constantly spin these 3 plates. So you can't neglect them. If you're working on the health plate, the other 2 are going to stop spinning and they're going to come crashing down if you don't keep them in check, and vice versa. And the other, you have to maintain them all. And you'll even see successful people who can't keep them all in check. Like David Goggins is somebody I read. I read his books when I was in the joint, and I've followed him, and I've learned more about him since I've been out. This guy is his health is on point. David Goggins' health is so fantastic, and he prioritizes it so much that it actually turned into his wealth. Like all of it, he's worth millions of dollars because of his books and his social media presence and everything else. But it all he got popular because of the health challenges that he overcame and the amount that he pushed himself physically to be in like the pinnacle of human health. So he became a famous multimillionaire as a result of that. But from everything you can get a sense of it in his books. But I've read about him and I've heard stories about him, and there's a lot of, he's got broken relationships all over the place. So his health and his wealth are in check, but he struggles with relationships. And that, I don't know the guy personally. I hope he doesn't, he's probably running down the fucking road right now, coming to kick my ass for saying it. But, he's probably out on the bike trail right now. Fuck that motherfucker, I'm gonna get him. But yeah, he probably ran 300 miles in the last 10 minutes just to get here. But I don't know where he lives or anything. But no, this dude, it's a good example. You can have your health and your wealth together. Your relationships might be shit. If you're going through a divorce, well, there goes your wealth. If you're a man going through a divorce, there goes your wealth. It's gone. She's getting half. That nice house that you bought, that's hers now. You're living in a studio apartment while she lives in the nice house. See that all the time. So there goes your wealth. Relationship goes bad, the wealth goes with it. Your health will probably start to suffer because of all the stress that you're under. Eating TV dinners, eating fucking ramen noodles and shitty ass cheap food because you can't afford your bills because someone took all your money. It's like Chris Rock said, he didn't agree with the fact that OJ killed his wife, but I understand. It's like when you're worth millions of dollars, when you're worth $10 million and your wife wants $5, well, you still got $5 million. But when you make 40 grand and your wife wants 20, bitch might have to die. She might have to go. That's according to Chris Rock. I'm not, I didn't make that up. But your health, your wealth, relationships all have to be in check. Now, where I'm at right now, no wealth. I'm literally bouncing from one month to the next. I have no idea. I literally did not even think I'd be able to pay rent on January 1st until today. Today, things changed, and I'll be able to squeak by another month. I'll get to squeak by. I got to get to the point where I'm out of that survival mode where I'm like, how do I even pay my bills next month, to like having enough money to pay my bills next month, this month, so that the money's already there. Like on the 1st of the next month, I should have enough money set aside to pay next month's bills and the current month. So January 1st, 2027, I hope that I can get to the point where I can cover January and February's bills on January 1st. And then whatever money I make in those 2 months, it just builds and builds. Maybe I can do better than that if things go right. But right now, I'm like December 25th, and I finally figured, I can pay rent now. All right, I'm not going to be homeless next month. Yes, that's it. That's the best I can do. That's the best I can do right now. And health, wealth, relationships, health is probably the best thing I got right now, because my health is, it's kind of hard though. It's like my health is, I would say I was healthier when I came home from the joint in April of 2024 than I am right now. My diet was better because it was, I had no choice a little bit. I gained over the course of from April 2024 to now, I've gained about 30 pounds, give or take. I'll drop 15, I'll gain it back. I'll drop 15, I'll gain back 5, I'll drop 5, I'll gain 10. It just kind of swings back and forth between like 214 and 230. And it just goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back. And it's just kind of stuck. But I was 200.0 the day I came home from the joint. They took pictures up, like the pictures, like even my first YouTube video when I was homeless, I don't look the same as I do now. I'm a little bit more, I got a little more meat on my face, a little more pudgy to my looks right now than I did back then. And so I got to do something about that. But the health is probably the only thing out of the three that I have some. I did ride a bicycle 4,000 miles this year. That's nothing, or 52 miles short of 4,000 miles to be, specific. That's not something that you can do when you're weak or when you're not, there has to be a state of health and a certain amount of physicality there to be able to do something like that in the first place. So I'm not starting from nothing. It's not like I can't fix that problem. Out of all three of the problems, the health is probably the easiest one for me to fix because it's the one thing I can actually do. The wealth is probably second place there because there are the wealth part. I have some goals. I'm having problems with time and energy being related to health. So if I can get my health up, my energy goes up, at which point that energy will translate into more dollars being earned and more time to earn them and to more energy to get things done. Relationships, that's the one that got hit the hardest when I was in the joint. When the FBI showed up with that tank and drove it into my living room, all of my relationships left. Like you find out who your real friends are when you go through something like that. Because if I had 100 friends that day, the next day I had 3. If I had 100 friends on August 12th, if I woke up August 12th, 2022 with 100 friends that I could name, I woke up August 23rd with 3 friends left. So 97 out of the 100 turned their back on me, and I've never seen them, talk to them, heard a word from them, and basically discovered that they want nothing to do with me ever since. And to be perfectly honest, I want nothing to do with them either. The feeling's mutual. I'll never talk to those people again. I have nothing. But it is kind of sad when, most of these people are, I'm 50 years old right now. This happened when I was 47 years old. And I think I was 47, or I just turned 47, or whatever. It was 46. Whatever it was, 2022. 4, 5, 6, 7, 47, 40. No, I wasn't 47 yet, but I was 46, going on 47. Most of the friends that turned their back on me have been friends of mine since I was 18 years old. It wasn't like just some fly-by-night friendships that I've been friends with for a few months or a couple of years. These are like decades-long friendships where people were like, see ya, turn their back. Later. Like that. If I had 100 friends, the day before it happened, I had 3 left the next day. And so, and I have, like I said, I haven't seen my children. I don't remember the last time I saw my daughter was 2022. The last time I saw my son was his birthday in 2024, September 2024, the day before I left to come to Houston, or the day I stopped at his place on the way to Houston and spent some time with him. I've seen my son one time since he was 12 years old, and now he's 16. He's trying to get his driver's license now. Like, that's painful. The relationship side of my life is gone. But if we're talking about, health, wealth, relationships, what am I working on? Like, okay, my health is the health is the one thing I can control. Like, it's the most accessible thing right now that I can do. I could have done a lot better today, food wise, but I threw a bunch of mac and cheese bites in the oven, got out some sour cream, boom, dinner. Because that's all I wanted to do. 5 minutes in the oven. I didn't want to have to take away time watching Star Wars to go make a meal, right? So, but I can go to the grocery store and get healthy food tomorrow. I can change my diet, and I can do more exercise, and I don't even have to join a gym to do that. There's a lot of things I can do that don't cost anything or cost about as much as a few frisbees to get started, to go play frisbee golf or whatever, a pair of hiking boots to go, which I don't really need to go on but a good pair of hiking boots would be, little things like that. So health, I can do that. Wealth, a little bit more difficult, but it's in my wheelhouse right now. There's things going on that if I could just make a few changes and get some more energy and time back, that money situation would go up. I could probably double my income next year over what I made this year just by making a tweak. And it's still not where I need to be, but it's in the right direction. But the relationships, ooh boy, that's a tough one. But when I look back a year ago at the relationship situation at the beginning, let's just say, how much would a good set of hiking boots set you back? I would probably get the Keen Durand 2, because that's what I always wore. Like, I used to get the same exact boots year after year, and I just wait for them to be on sale. REI, well, I don't go to REI anymore because they kicked me out of the store in Minneapolis for not wearing a mask, and they chased me out into the parking lot and threatened to call the cops on me. And I said I'd never set foot in one of your fucking stores again, and I never have. So I don't go to REI, but you can get them. REI used to be the best price because they would be on sale, and there was always a way to work out a deal in the spring to get me a new pair, but they're not cheap. But I'll make it work. I'll figure it out. It's kind of it's not high on my list right now. Like, I can go on a hike. I can go on a hike tomorrow. I got sneakers. I got a pair of my boots that I was wearing to the bay. I could, I've got stuff I can wear. It's not the end of the world. Even if I had the money for the boots right now, I'd spend it on something else. But maybe in the spring, I don't know. When I decide that I want to like get serious about it and actually go explore and hike and do something like that and get out in nature, then I'll do it. Let's see. Let's see, where was I? So the health, the wealth, the relationships. If I look back a year ago, the wealth has gotten better. I'm definitely doing better. Not, I'm still poor, but I got money. I've got a regular stream of income that the money situation has gotten better than it was a year. If we're doing like New Year's resolution stuff and my year in review, a year ago, the money situation was worse, a lot worse than it is now. Overall, the potential to go to a higher level is much more. It's there now. It's like I'm closer to having a breakthrough than I was a year ago. That's the better way to put it. The health, Health really hasn't. I can't. In April, May, I was in a lot better shape than I am right now, health wise. And I was down to like 210, 214. And because of all the cycling, and I was feeling really healthy. And Strava was telling me that my health is up. They've got a graph that they track your overall fitness with, like your average speed with your heart rate, and they all these other factors, and they have like a score that they give you. And my score was off the chart back then. And I felt it. I felt like I was in good shape. Right now, I'm not. Right now, I feel like the number that they've pegged me at. um, but it wouldn't take much to get back up there. There is a base level that didn't go away. So, but the relationship side, I feel like it's better right now than it was a year ago. A year ago, it's slow. It's slow, but a lot of it has to do with the group of people that I work with at this bakery. Like, this is the reason why God put me there. I've talked about, I know that God has a reason for having me work at this bakery that has nothing to do. Like, he put me there for a reason out of any other, low paying job to humble my arrogant ass and all these things that he's done by putting me there. Um Money had nothing to do with it. I don't care about the money. The money's not why I'm there. It's grocery money. It basically pays for groceries. I can't survive off of that, and I don't. I survive off of doing other things. But it's nice to have a paycheck that comes in every 2 weeks that I can buy groceries, pay a couple bills, get something on Amazon, that things like that. Pick up something I need for the house, whatever. It's just another additional source of income. None of my income sources I can survive on, none of them. But when you put them all together, I'm living, I'm surviving. So, and it's diversified. So if you shut one off, I've still got others. If the bakery were to just, burn down in a fire and it can't go in anymore, heaven forbid, but I would still have other ways to pay my bills. It would just be a little tight. It wouldn't be like I'm dependent on one sole source of income. And I'd never want to feel that again. If anything comes out of this that's going to be positive in my life, it's going to have multiple income streams. I'm playing the long game, and it takes a long time to build from nothing. When you to literally, I'm starting from homeless, nothing. I'm starting from homeless to build a life again at 50 years old. I'm not starting from like, oh, I already got some money in the bank that I set aside from my 30 years in corporate America. I cashed out my 401k early so I could start this and do that and take a sabbatical. No, I'm starting from being fucking homeless. So I'm going to cut myself some slack there and say, it might take some time to figure things out. But if the positive thing that comes out from this is that I have 6, 7, 8 sources of income, so that if one of them gets shut off, I've still got 6 or 7 sources of income. And it's like you can turn off one of the faucets in the house, but I've still got 6 working faucets. I'm still going to be able to go get water. I'm still going to be able to wash my hands. It's not like I got one sink and one spigot, and if it doesn't work, I'm screwed. I was making bank before I got arrested. I was making well over 6 figures. In a career that I had been doing for 30 straight years, I had a team of people reporting to me in a big corporate. I was an important person to an extent, and I had all of that. But the downside of that is that one company and that one paycheck determined my whole destiny. Is if I lost that job, I had nothing to cover my bills with. Which prior to that job, I had been fired from another job because I wouldn't take the COVID scam shot, wouldn't take the stupid vaccine. And I stood up for myself and said no. And they fired me. They fired me a week before Christmas. And I still said no. In fact, my girlfriend at the time said, if I had caved in and gone to take the shot, she would have broke up with me because it would have told her I'm a pussy. She would have thought I was a pussy if I didn't stand. Like that's how, like most women, guys that I know, married guys that took the shot, even though they had concerns. Once again, I know I've brought this topic up. They do it because their wife says if you lose your job because you're not going to take that shot, not only are you never going to get any pussy again, I'm going to divorce you and take half of the fucking shit that you've got left, including this house, and you can go live in a studio apartment, you fucking loser. So you might want to take that shot. Well, I had a girlfriend at the time who was like, if you didn't stand up for yourself and you caved in to take that shot, I would have dumped your ass because it would have told me you're a pussy with no backbone. So it worked out for me at the time. But um anyway, um that was a taste of what happens when you give up your single source of income, because that was my only source of income at the time. And I just got done telling you how I had to live off of credit cards for 5 months, and I racked up $10,000 in debt, and I was halfway through my credit lines and really digging myself a bad hole. And then I found another single source of income, but the money I was making was so much that I paid off 6,000 of a $10,000 debt in 4 months. Like that was just I was making the credit card payments $1,000 a month to pay those off. In fact, a little bit more because I paid off $6,000 in 4 months. So I was paying like 1,500 or 1,250 a month or whatever. I was paying a lot to get that knocked down, but I was making bank again and I could do it. And so I just wanted to, have those credit cards available just in case, they pull the plug on my job again. And so that was the life I used to leave. Like when I do have a job, I'm making some serious buck. Like my paychecks. I mean, I'm getting paychecks. I'm getting direct deposits that are like $4,000 twice a month, maybe more sometimes. And like all of my bills come out of one paycheck, and I've got a whole nother paycheck to do whatever I want with. But one little thing happens, you lose that income, you lose it all, and you're back to ground zero, and everything shuts off, and your life goes on hold, and you're struggling to survive and all that. I can't live like that again. If I'm going to play this long game, building from homeless, from zero, rock bottom, can you get lower than that? Can you get lower than being homeless, living in a fucking homeless shelter in Jamestown, New York, with nothing but what you had in a backpack? 2 changes of clothes. Can you build something from there that maybe I can get back to the same level of income that I was at before, but spread out over 6 different sources of income? Now I don't got to worry about being fired from my job. If I lose a source of income because, let's say, YouTube doesn't like what I said next week and they shut my channel off and kick me off the platform forever, well, you can go to, links. Here's the plugs. There it is. links.litgood.com, pinned to the top of the chat there. In fact, I'm going to give you the... There you go. Now you got the clickable link because I put the HTTPS in front of it. Replace pinned message. There we go. Boom. You click on that. You'll see that you'll be able to find me somewhere else. And if I can get to the point where like I monetize an X account and a YouTube account, okay, if YouTube kicks me off the platform, I can at least talk to you all on X. I've seen creators. There's this girl, Maggie. Her channel is called Refashioned Hippie. She gets kicked off of YouTube like once every 3 months. And she has to beg and plead and deal with people at YouTube to get her channel back every time. And they're literally banning her channel because she's got big tits. They don't like her big tits like that. She's just this like bigger girl. She's got these big giant like She probably has to pay $6,000 for a bra because it has to be custom made or whatever. She's just a funny chick. And she's been kicked off of YouTube for having big tits like 6 times that I've seen because I follow her on Instagram, which I'm almost never on. Some of these other platforms you all reach out to me on, I need to get better at making the rounds and going around because I've discovered on Instagram the other day there were all these people that had messaged me over like 3 weeks. I never even knew about it. And I had to get back to all of them. I'm horrible at keeping up with all of these different things. And so I think I'm going to use AI. I'm going to use Grok, and I'm going to like this is part of what I'm going to document when I get into the long format videos again. But like, how do I manage all the chaos? Like, how do I take all this chaos that's going on, all these different things that need my attention, and get into a mode of operation here where I can actually do it and maintain it all? It's like I said, the clown spinning all the plates on top of the poles. I've got like 3 rows of 7 poles with plates spinning on them. So that's 7, 14, that's 21 spinning plates that I got to keep running back and forth and spinning the fucking plate. Oh, I got to go to the other side because that plate's going to fall off and I got to get that one spinning again. And then I got to run back to the other corner because those ones are slowing down and I got to spin those again. And I'm just like, I feel like a clown just running around trying to keep the plates all spinning on top of the pole. And I can't keep up with it. So that's kind of like what I'm trying to like, that's my New Year's, that's like my New Year, new me thing that I'm going to try and figure out this year is how do I keep all these plates spinning? Like I need to invent a machine or something. I got to get someone to do it for me. So I don't, I got to get like a couple of midgets or something to just spin the plates while I go, do what I want to do. Or, I got to like figure something out. And, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm just kind of like, this is a very random live stream tonight. I'm surprised I'm at 2.5 hours almost. Wow. Started out a bit rough, but things kind of smoothed out. But I didn't take notes. I didn't have anything like super well prepared tonight. Didn't even read Jesus Calling today on Christmas, but it's probably just, I don't know, we could do, why not? Let's do it. It's going to be something about Christmas, the birth of Jesus or something like that. Let's see. Yep, exactly. Like, so even this woman fell for the whole thing about, Jesus being born on Christmas, which he probably wasn't. But here we go. Jesus Calling, December 25th. As you wait attentively in my presence, the light of the knowledge of my glory shines upon you. This radiant knowledge transcends all understanding. It transforms every fiber of your being, renewing your mind, cleansing your heart, invigorating your body. Open yourself fully to my presence to be awed by my glorious being. Try to imagine what I gave up when I came into your world as a baby. I set aside my glory so that I could identify with mankind. I accepted the limitations of infancy under the most appalling conditions, a filthy stable. That was a dark night for me, even though angels lit up the sky proclaiming glory to awestruck shepherds. When you sit quietly with me, the process I went through is reversed in your experience. As you identify with me, heaven's vistas open up before you, granting you glimpses of my glory. I became poor so that you might become rich. Sing hallelujahs to my name. So this is the one that, this section here is what stands out to me when I read this. Jesus came, Jesus is God who decided to put himself in the form of a human, but in a way that he could actually experience what it is to be a human being. So that when you are complaining to God about your day, God, you just don't understand what it's like. Well, he actually does. He does understand what it was like because he put himself in a human body and came down here to live among us and to live, not only live the life that we live, but he picked the shittiest life you can live as like he could have been Caesar's son. He could have been the son of royalty and lived a lavish life in a palace somewhere as the son of God, performing miracles and doing all the stuff that he did. But he was born in a filthy fucking barn covered in horse shit and cow dung and fucking animals walking around him in a freaking box full of hay or whatever, you know? And he was born in a fucking barn. living like the poorest of the poor. And he never lived, he rode into Jerusalem on a donkey when he came to meet his end. And he had one of the most horrifying deaths at the hands of the people who were afraid of him that a human being could probably go through, being hung up on a board and left, nails through your arms and your legs, being hung up on a piece of wood to hang there and die, however long it takes. Like, we don't kill prisoners like that now. Like, you get hanged, you get shot, you get gassed, you get shocked, you get drugged up if they're going to kill you now. You get your head cut off if you're in a Muslim country. Like, all the different ways that they kill you now. Even if you get lit on fire, like you're a gay guy in Afghanistan or Iraq or something like that, and they light you on fire, you're probably going to die quicker. Like being burned at the stake for being a witch or whatever is probably quicker and less painful than being hung up on a fucking board like Jesus was. Like Jesus was, to just hang there with nails going through your arms and legs while you just hang there and die, waiting to die. So you can't tell God you don't know what it's like, because he does. He knows what it's like. He's like, you want to trade places with me, dog? You want to go hang up on that board and see what I went through? Like, you can't argue. You can't tell God he doesn't know what you're going through, because he's been through it. He came here. He's lived in the dirt. He's lived broke. He's been more broke than you. He's been more broke than me. He's had more problems than me. If God had a car, if God came down this week and God had a car, it would be worse than my Volkswagen. It probably never run. He'd be driving down the road. There'd be coolant and oil leaking out on the road. There'd be like a wheel would fall off. Like, that'd be the car he's driving. It'd be like a 1975 Dodge Dart that barely runs. Where the hell would you even get that car? It'd be like the worst car you can find. That'd be what he's driving around in. Be like a Pontiac Grand Am. Be like the worst car you can find. That's how he rolled. And look what happened to him. All he ever did was good for the world. He healed the sick. He made the blind man see. He raised people from the dead. He fed 5,000 people with a couple of fish and a loaf of bread. He turned water into wine. Yeah, so kill him. Kill him. What a fucking asshole. Hang him up to die. Kill that guy. Get rid of him. He's so bad for us. It's like, and then people are like, people get mad at me for swearing and stuff. Oh, you're not a real Christian because you swore. You drank wine. Well, you know what, though? If God didn't want me to drink wine, if God didn't want me to drink alcohol once in a while, why did Jesus turn water into wine? If God didn't want me to drink wine, he would have turned the wine into water. He would have gone to the wedding and turned all the wine into water. If he didn't want you to drink it. But no, he went and he turned the water into wine. So when you tell me, if I go to church and somebody's like, we don't drink because we're Christians. Jesus drank, he turned water into wine, for fucking Christ's sake. Not this, okay, God's gonna have words with me about what I just said there, but for crying out loud, he turned water into wine. But you're gonna tell me you don't drink because you're a good Christian. Jesus could have easily showed up to the wedding late and turned all the wine into water, and that could have been his first public miracle. But no, he turned the water into wine. So I don't think Jesus is going to have a problem if I have a couple of beers on Thanksgiving. If I have a couple beers with Christmas dinner, I don't think we're going to have a problem when I get to the pearly gates or whatever, and I got to, recount my life. That's not going to be on the list. The thing that I just said about Jesus effing, this and that's going to have he's going to be angrier about that than I had a couple beers or some wine. But he came down, he was one of us, he was a human being, he lived it. So at the end of the day, like I said, you can't just go praying to God and being like, you don't understand what I'm going through, God. I did it the other day. I was complaining about something that I'm just like, because I'm looking for a sign. Like he pointed me in this direction with so many signs and so many clear directions of what to do, and then I go and do it, and now like I'm almost like I feel stupid for having done it, but I don't, because I know I was supposed to do it. But anyway, I was having a conversation with God about this. I'm like, why did you do this? Why did you tell me to do that? And I'm like, and I remember saying something like, God, you just don't understand. You just don't understand what it's like, man, trying to be one of us. You're the all-knowing, all-powerful. You don't know what it's like to be one of us. Well, he does. He does. He knows exactly what it's like because he did it. So, and he went through worse things than you. He went through worse things than me. So, yeah. So I can just shut up when I get into that frame of thought. And I did. I'm like, I realized how ridiculous I was being when I was having my talk with him that day. And I'm like, you know what? In a video that I was watching in the last few days, something popped up. It said your spirit your spirit can be fine with what you did and accept that you did the right thing or whatever. Like your spirit is at peace with everything, but your mind sometimes takes longer to catch up with your spirit. And then I'm like, that's exactly what it is. Because it's not, my spirit is fine. I got no regrets, but my mind is like not caught up to that yet. The best way to explain it. But so I don't know. It's Jesus, he was one of us. As you sit quietly with me, the process that I went through is reversed in your experience. As you identify with Jesus, heaven's vistas open up before you, granting you glimpses of his glory. He became poor so that you become rich. I'm not preaching the prosperity gospel that you just have to pray harder if you're not rich. You too can be Joel Osteen with, a $50 million mega church in downtown Houston, making, with your private jet in your mansions and, all the hookers and blow that you can, Saturday night is hookers and blow, Sunday service is for the Lord when you're Joel Osteen. But, I'm not going to say that, if you just pray harder, you'll get rich, because I don't think it really works like that. But when you pray to God for him to put you where you need to be, tell you what you need to do, tell you what he wants you to do, he will definitely do that. If you're open-minded enough to listen, and you're actually out there trying to Like you're serious about it. Like you're open-minded enough to believe that he's real and at least give it a chance. And you're willing to listen. Like I'm always asking God, what do you want me to do? Like I know what I want to do. I know what I think I should be doing, but please God, make it clear what you want me to do and make it so crystal clear that I can't see it any other way than it's from you. And so there's a few things that are going on in my world in different departments, and he's just like bang bang bang, this is what I want you to do. The book is one of them, helping my friend. Like I asked him one day about this book editing job that I'm doing. Is this what you want me to do? Because I was starting to feel like maybe I'm not doing the right thing. Maybe by working on this book, maybe God considers this book to be blasphemy or something like that because it's not, I had different reasons to maybe think that. I'm like, am I just forcing my way to get a paycheck to work on this project against your wishes of what you would have me do or what you want me to do? And I'm telling you, when I asked him for the clarity and to tell me 100%, he hit me so hard with a brick in the face over and over and over again that I'm like, I'm 100%. I'm like, yes, I'm supposed to finish this book. I'm supposed to help. I'm doing exactly what he wants me to do right now. I don't know why. I don't know what it's supposed to be for. I don't know what's going to come out of it. I don't know where this is leading. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. The only thing I know is that, yes, you're supposed to do this. He made it crystal clear over and over and over again, to the point where I can't even list all the synchronicities and the way that he speaks to me. I'm 100% like, no doubt in my mind that I did the right thing and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. There's other things I need to be doing that I'm like behind on, but he made it clear. I asked him about the book straight up because I was having doubts. And he was like, "No, you're doing exactly what I want you to do, at least in terms of the book." And there's some other situations where I'm like at a crossroads of, do I zig or do I zag? Do I forget about that? Do I do that? Do I do this? Do I do that? And I ask for directions because I truly just didn't know. And he's like, "Do this." And I'm like, "Are you sure? Do this. Are you sure? I don't believe you. Do it. Are you, Are for real? Yes." Like he just hit me 25 fucking times until I finally just did it. And I'm still like convinced that like I said, another situation. I don't know what'll happen or what will be the result of it, but I did what he told me to do. Straight up. I couldn't argue with it anymore because he just was blatantly obnoxious about it. Pretty much just told me to shut up and trust him. He knows what he's doing. I can't put it any other way. If you want to come to the members only live stream, which happens on Sundays at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, where Las Vegas rules apply. Whatever happens in the members only live stream stays in the members only live stream, just like a weekend in Vegas. I could get into some of these things deeper, but I've just, it is what it is. All I'm saying is God will give you the direction of what he wants you to do if you ask him. But sometimes he won't answer you right away. Sometimes he does, and sometimes he won't. But the one thing that I do find is when I ask, like the one question that I ask a lot is, tell me what you want me to do. Tell me if I'm doing the right thing. If I'm not doing the right thing, if I'm doing like if whatever it is the wrong direction, put a stop to it. Make it so that I can't. And I'll ask him like something like that. And I can't think of a specific example right now off the top of my head, but what I can say is I think one example might be I keep trying to find a job in the line of work that I used to do before I went to federal prison. And Nobody will hire me. Like I can't even get a job at Burger King, McDonald's, Target fired me on my first day because of it. Ollie's department store, I got a job there. They fired me on the first day because they didn't like the fact that they found my background check. DoorDash won't let me take a bag of food to someone's house, but if I'm an illegal immigrant, I can do it all day. Everybody who drives for DoorDash in Houston's an illegal immigrant. I would say 90% of them undocumented. Somehow they don't need documents to be a DoorDash driver, but they wanted a copy of my driver's license. But they do a background check when you're an American citizen, but I guess not when you're an illegal immigrant. I don't know. But either way, they won't even let me deliver a bag of food to someone's house. Like that's out. And it's like, so the example, that's an example of, I've come to the conclusion, I just don't think God wants me to do it. I don't think that's in God's plan. And no matter how hard I try, no matter how many doors I knock on, no matter what I do, I will never accomplish that goal if God doesn't want me to do it. Doesn't matter how good I am, 30 years experience. It doesn't matter how good my portfolio is, how good my website is, how good the interviews go, how good my resume is, all of that. If God doesn't want this, nothing I do will make it happen. Nothing. I could try for 6 straight years to get to bang my way through it, and God won't let it happen. He just will not allow it to be. And that will be how he's telling me, hey, I don't want this. And he'll give me other signs, and he'll give me other things to he'll tell me in other ways that you're going down the wrong path. But I feel like the metaphor that I use when I'm describing when you're going the wrong way, when you're going the way God doesn't want you to go, it's going to feel like you're standing in front of a brick wall and you're just banging your head against the brick wall over and over and over, trying to get to the other side. And the only thing you're going to end up with at the end of the day is a fucking headache. But if God wants you to go somewhere, he'll put a door in the brick wall. He'll put a door there. Or he'll show you a path that goes around the wall, or there won't even be a wall there. It'll be like sledding down a hill on a toboggan covered in snow, and you're just going to slide. You're just going to slide right to the end, and you're not even going to have to try. And even if you go against the grain, he's still going to push you in the direction. He's going to open up all the doors. He's going to give you the money that you need, and he's just going to put everything in your path so that you don't got to do anything but show up. The only thing you have to do, if God wants whatever it is for you to do, all you have to do is show up. Straight up. All you got to do is get up out of bed and show up. You might have to do something when you get there, but you'll know what it is, or you'll be prepared for it because, in some cases it's just, if I show up to do a job or whatever, you already know what to do, whatever. But when you're going the wrong way, he will not let you, especially when you pray about it and you ask him to stop you. When it came to buying a car, I always asked God, I'm like, if you don't want me to have this car, don't let me do it. Don't let me. And I almost bought a Subaru Forester from a dude, and he was an hour away from coming to my house to do the trade, cash for title. He had just gone and gotten the car inspected. He sent me the receipt, the printout, the report from the inspection place showing me that he got the inspection done. And what else? So I got the inspection done. He was supposed to, I was home. I had the cash. He was supposed to be at my house in 10 minutes. He was 10 minutes from showing up to my door with the vehicle, with the title, swap cash for title, and be done with it. And he calls me up 10 minutes before he's supposed to be at my house. And he's like, hey, man, just wanted to let you know I just sold the car to somebody else because they offered me more money. But he kind of put it out there. He's like, but if you want to offer me more than that, I'm like, no. Like, that was God telling me, no, you don't want this car, dude. I'm not going to let you have it. I went and looked at another car at a dealership, and I tried haggling with the dealership, and they wanted they wanted like $5,800 for this car, I think. Out the door, that might be the price with the taxes and title fees and all that. But anyway, let's just say they wanted $5,800. So I was like, and I'm playing the game. I'm like Rick on Pawn Stars. I'm like, best I can do is $3,500. Right? And I'm not expecting them to say yes to that. But I'm expecting them to play a game and say, okay, if I'm just like stupid low, you're going to have to come down some. So dude is like, no, $5,800. And he tries giving me 10 reasons why. And I'm like, no, the car's not worth $5,800. I know the blue book value of that car is lower than that. And it's been in an accident. It's got a salvage title. I'm like, I pointed out all the things I saw wrong with it when we were out in the test drive. I'm like no, $3,500. He's like, no, no, it's going to be $5,800. I'm like, well, it's not. So he leaves the office, and he leaves me sitting there for like 15 minutes. Like, this is the game they do at the auto dealers. So you're giving me 15 minutes to have a conversation with Grok, getting my next strategy, my next move in play, doing research. What's the value? What's the KBB of the car and all this and that? Like, just, I'm like having this conversation with my AI assistant. All of a sudden, this big titty Latina chick comes in, all dolled up like she's dressed to impress. And, hello, senor. I see you're interested in buying this car. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You're doing the Hooters routine on me. We'll get a girl with big titties. We'll rub her titties in his face and see if he caves in. So I'm like, all right. I follow this girl to her office. She sprayed perfume all over her office. Like, I know that part of her game, I could smell it when I walked into the office. She had gone around and sprayed perfume around the fucking office. So now she's got her big titties in my face, and she's like playing this game like, see, senor, I know you like this car. Why don't you look at my big titties, and then you'll pay what we want you to pay. And I'm like, no, honey. No, this gringo ain't going to fall for that shit. So, so we argue back and forth. And, hey, Angel, what's up? Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, whatever you say. I know all the people on X are so proud of themselves today for having the balls to say Merry Christmas instead of Happy Holidays, because they've been spending all day bragging about it. About how they're so much better because they say Merry Christmas. Jesus don't give a shit whether you say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, because he wasn't even born today. But, go ahead and drag a tree into your house for no reason and put a bunch of balls on it for Jesus. But anyway, this lady, now she's trying to haggle me, right? And so I'm like, I think I came up to like $4,000, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm just playing around. I'm like, all right, best I can do is 5,000 out the door, taxes, titles, whatever. I will write a check right now for $5,000. That's only 800 less than what you're telling me out the door. And she's like, all right, let me see. She gets up and she does the thing. She walks out of the office. 15 minutes go by. Just like, I'm on a bicycle. I got my backpack and my helmet right next to me. My bicycle's out front, locked to a pole. So they think they have me. They think that I'm like not willing to get back on a bicycle and go home. They think that I came there to play ball and go home with a car. but we're still 800. But I'm like, okay, I'll do $5,000 because I'm just playing with them. I want to see what they'll do. She comes back. She's like, no, sir, we cannot drop the price anymore. 5,800. Still, they're still not even coming down $1. Like, you can't even come down. You like, where the fuck where did you learn how to sell cars? You're not even gonna haggle me one day. You're not even gonna come down $1. Like, how long have you been playing this game? So I'm just like, okay, 800. But I'm straight. I'm like firm at $5,000. Grok was even like, don't move. Grok was like, hold firm, buddy. You're not going up another $1. You've already caved in too much. And I told Grok, I'm like, yeah, they brought in a girl with big tits, and they're trying to like get me to fall for that. The Hooters routine, trying to get me to buy an appetizer because the Hooters waitress stuck her tits in my face or whatever. Oh, you want some? Oh, you want to get dessert? Yeah. And so Grok is my wingman. I mean, hey, use it. I've got an X premium account now. I better get my money's worth out of it. So it's the only way to grow my X following. So I just sucked it up and decided to do it, but it's not. It's too expensive, I think. But I've been using Grok to do a lot of stuff for my business, so it's a business expense. Let's see. So anyway, the big, the Hooters routine, it's not working. We're at an impasse. And she goes, the best I can do is you can write me a check for $5,000 right now, and you can pay the 800 off over 2 months. We'll let you come in and drop, a $400 payment each month for the next 2 months. And I'm like, it's not the money. I'm like, I don't need to be floated alone. I'm like, I'm not paying more than $5,000. That's the problem here. I'm like, you want to make a sale? We could do it right now. I'll sign this thing. You'll get money. I'll go home with a car. You'll probably never see me again. Because, there's going to be it's a used car. So, I certainly wouldn't take it back to them if it needed something fixed. And so I'm like, I'm buying this as is. Maybe there'd be like a 30-day warranty or something, whatever. But that wasn't the game I was playing. And so I was like, all right. I'm like, that's fine. You can give me a call. You know how to get in touch with me. And I grabbed my bike helmet. I put my helmet on. I'm buckling the chin strap, and I'm getting up out of the chair. And she's like, Senor, no, don't leave. No, let me go see if I can talk to my manager, and let me rub my titties in your face one more time. And, and she's like, I'm like, all right, fuck it, man. I like a good set of titties. Like any other guy, you can rub them in my face one more time, but I'm not going to budge. But, you go get a fucking pole. Go put a pole in the middle of the fucking office and do a little dance for me. I don't care. I'm not going to budge. It's not going to work. So she disappears again, like 10, 15 minutes. I'm sitting there. I'm like, again. She comes back in. She's like, no, sir, we cannot drop the price anymore. And I'm like, all right, well, you know how to get a hold of me. And this time I get up and I put my helmet on. I get on my bike and I get the hell out of there. And I go home. And I just looked at it like God didn't want me to have the car. Like, no matter how much I tried to haggle with them, they wouldn't even come down $1. And the car was overpriced. $5,000 would have been too much for that car. 4,500 would have been the sweet spot. And we're arguing about $1,000 when it comes down to it. About let's see, 800 plus 500. So we're like $1,300. If I could have got that car for 4,500, I would have bought it that day. No questions, like no doubt about it. But like, if I had said $4,750, they wouldn't have even come down $50 on the price. And I'm like, that's just God telling me to go home. And I thought maybe I'm supposed to go home because a week from now, this little Latina with the boobies is going to be calling me up. Sorry, senor, would you like to come take another look at the car? I think we can work with you this time. And I'm just like, no. But they never did call. But it was like 2 months later that they sold the car, so that thing sat on the lot for another 2 months, and I don't know if they got somebody to pay full price or if they finally just caved in and let somebody haggle them because they needed to get rid of it. Either way, I was paying attention for a while because I was just curious. And so it just, I don't know. I mean, God didn't stop me from buying this Volkswagen, but there was like this, do you get the Toyota or the Volkswagen? Because they were right. If I didn't buy the Volkswagen, I was supposed to go look at the Toyota half an hour after I looked at the Volkswagen. And it was like, I was supposed to meet the guy like right down the street from where I was. And I just like, I think the only reason that I bit the Volkswagen bug was because the when I threw out an offer for 30, what I say 3,800 for that car, the owner of the car was like, "Okay," because they wanted 46 for it. So I got it out. I got him down $800, haggling to the point where I'm like, I could have said 35 and he probably would have done it. So I was like, basically, the Volkswagen became the same price as the Toyota, but the Toyota had 6 more years of age and 30,000 more miles. But they were roughly in the same, like Toyota years and Volkswagen years, I believe, are different. It's like dog years and human years. Like, um, so the Volkswagen, to fix, since we're on that subject, when I took it back to the second mechanic, the second time I took it in, because they finally gave me a quote, they were the cheapest quote. They charged me $820, which is what that should have cost. This is how I know the garage down the street ripped me off, because over the phone, when I called them a couple of weeks before taking it to them, the place is a half mile down the road. So that's why I wanted to go there, because it was close to home. And I figured if they're a good shop, it's perfect. I can walk there if I need to. They told me over the phone, I asked them, what if I need a new gateway module for my Volkswagen and it needs to be reprogrammed? I said, this is what I think is wrong. Can you give me a price of what that would cost? They said, we'll get back to you on that. We need to look up the cost of the part and all that. They got back to me and said $800. They told me 800 over the phone. So I take my car there expecting it to cost $800. The next morning, they call me and tell me that it's going to be $2,200, but the scope of work had not changed. It was the same part and the same amount of labor. And I'm like, how are you going from 800 to 2,200? And they're like, well, the cost of the part is about $750. And I'm like, you told me 2 weeks ago that the part would cost about $500. And I'm like, okay, so there's $250 difference. Where's the other $1,000 that you're adding to this estimate coming from? And they couldn't explain it. And I'm like, I got you, bitches. I caught you. So I'm like, I'm coming to get the car. Fuck you. Just put the car back together. I'm coming to get it. And I was a little bit more tactful because I didn't want them to sabotage my car or do anything, I was just like, well, I'm going to come pick it up and I'll bring it back in a week or two, which I had no intention of doing. But I just wanted to get the car back in one piece. Took it over to the other garage. The other garage had it for 3 days and they wouldn't give me a quote. I called another garage. They told me $1,000 for the gateway module. And this was a German garage, a German auto specialist. So it almost sounded like when I talked to them, they're like, it almost was like, yeah, those things break all the time on that car. You know what I mean? Like they like, yeah, this is how much it'll cost. Like they didn't even like blink an eye to give me a formalized written quote for it. The other garage, the second garage that wouldn't give me the quote, they were like, They told me they were being thorough and trying to make sure that that was the part that needed to be replaced because they didn't want to see me throwing random parts at the car hoping it would be fixed. But by the time they were done screwing around with it for 3 days, it was pretty damn obvious that it was the gateway module. Like, it was 100% sure. And so when I called them back after my car failed to start, like the car was just finally done, needed to be towed, um, I asked them for a quote and they said they'd do it for 800. And I'm like, that lines right up with what the first garage told me when I first called them about the job. And the price was, I mean, she said the part's 500, the labor's 300. And that's what the first garage told me the first time I called them. Parts 500, 300 for labor. And then the next day, and then when I took the car there, they're like, oh, wait a minute, it's 2200. And they couldn't explain how it went from 800 to 2200. I'm like, you guys are like, I'm actually tempted to report them to the, from what I understand, I can report them to the Attorney General's office for a bait and switch. But I didn't get the original $800 quote in writing, so I don't know how that would go. But I could probably get the $200 diagnostic feedback from them if I raised enough hell over it. Do I want to? I'm like 50-50. Because I think that was a shitty thing to do. But they did test the module and they showed me that they tested it and they gave me a report. But it wasn't worth $200 for that. So yeah, I'll never set foot in that garage again. They're probably going to get a 1-star review on Google because I think that was a shitty thing that they did. They fucked me up. But if you consider the fact that I spent 200 at that garage, 150 at another garage, then 800, plus having to buy 2 space heaters, an extension, a 25-foot heavy gauge extension cord, and the solar powered battery pack that I was using to run the 1 space heater in the car. And I replaced the battery in the car, thinking that maybe it was the battery before I tried, and I had to buy a battery tester to test the battery. Like, this probably cost me over $2,000 spread out over 3 months. So that's why money's so tight right now. Until I got it to and now it's done, but now I'm like paranoid as hell. And with the computer module, there's a couple things that there's glitches. I may have to go back to the garage if it becomes a problem, or if I take it to the garage to get something done like brake pads. I might say, hey, that module that you put in, can you fix a couple of the programming glitches? Like right now, my car thinks it's a stick shift. When you turn the key to turn the car on, a message comes up on the screen. It says, push in the clutch pedal to start the car. The car starts and it acts like it's supposed to, but it's showing me a message on the screen that it thinks it's a stick shift because it's saying push in the clutch to start the car. I'm like, it's automatic. And then there was another thing where if I turn the car into the on position, but I don't start the car, it comes up with a service now thing on the screen, and it like it was doing when it was glitching out. And it shouldn't be coming up. There's nothing to service, because basically what it would do is when you would turn on the key, it would say that it detected that there was an error with the airbags. And so the airbag light would come on and it would say problem, airbag, service now, a bunch of other stuff. Well, they got the airbag light off. The airbag light hasn't come on since I got the car back. So whoever it was might have gone under the passenger seat and fixed it, because the error code that I was getting myself said it was under the passenger seat, loose clip or something just not connected right, or corroded or whatever. But it was triggering a sensor was triggering the airbag light to come on. And so I wanted that to go away, but so now it's gone. But when I turn the key and turn the car on, it says it has like a service now alert, but it doesn't tell me what you have to service. So there's just some like maybe I can plug in my own scan tool and clear out all the error codes, and maybe that'll go away. Maybe my scan tool has the ability to reset the computer to know that it's an automatic and not a stick shift. I don't know. I don't know if my scan tool has that ability. It's got some advanced features, but I don't know if it goes that deep. Um, and the guy at the garage said the problem I was having with my shifter, saying that it's in reverse when it's in neutral. He said typically with these newer cars, that can be reprogrammed. You basically put the car into what's called learning. You put it into like a learning mode to where you put it in park, and then you hook up your computer and you say, okay, relearn the position of the shifter for each. So the computer will, your screen will say, put it in reverse, put it in reverse, put it in drive, put it in drive, put it in sport, put it in sport. And you just go through the notches, and the computer will relearn where those positions are, so that now the car will know it's in neutral when it's in neutral. But right now, the computer thinks the car is in reverse, even though the car is in neutral. And so and that makes sense to me being a software guy. I'm like, yeah, I could probably do this myself. The problem is I don't want to buy the software and the special cable that I need. The cable is expensive. And it can be only used on one car because of the software, and there's a serial number baked into the cable, and they'll make it so that you can only use it on one car, and then you got to buy another cable when you get another car. But then I don't want to fuck around with my car and turn it into a brick because I fucked something up or because Windows crashed in the middle of updating my car, or you know what I mean? Like I just don't got the patience for that. So none of this is stopping me from driving the car. And actually the car feels better and feels like it's driving better than it did before. It shifts better. It, it feels like an old car that needs work done to it, but it's driving. So, but no, I don't think I'm ever getting another Volkswagen again. I don't know. I think I'm done with Germany. But I don't, I mean, who says Toyota can't build a shitty car too? From what I'm hearing, all the new Toyotas are garbage. And I want that Toyota pickup truck, the $10,000 bare basic bones pickup truck that they just came out with, that they're going to sell in every country on earth except for the United States, because we can't have nice things here. $10,000 for a brand new Toyota pickup truck with no bells and whistles, with all the reliable Toyota stuff that's tried and true, is like my dream vehicle right now. Like I would do whatever it takes to find $10,000, whether it be a loan or however I would have to do it. I would do whatever it takes to get that truck if I could get one of those. No doubt about it. The bare bones basic model, and then customize the living hell out of it, because that's basically a customizable truck, just like a Jeep, just like a Nissan Frontier. It's the Jeep, these vehicles. That Toyota is probably one of the most customizable vehicles ever made. I've seen all the different configurations that they advertise with it, including the camper shell version and the off-road, mobile camper, or whatever you want to call it. I would definitely want four-wheel drive if they have that as an option. I don't want a pickup truck that's rear-wheel drive only, or even front-wheel drive if that's an option on those. But I would want four-wheel drive, but that's the only like bell and or whistle that I would pretty much. I'm not buying a new truck. I don't want to own a truck that's not four-wheel drive. It doesn't even make sense to do that. But other than that, I would buy one of those. So if it's like $14,000 because of the four-wheel drive option or whatever, but I want one of those. I would love to have one of those. And like if this is one of these Toyotas that gets 200,000-300,000 miles, I'm gonna own that truck for the rest of my life. Like I will never. I'm not gonna live long enough to put the miles on that to put it to bed. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. That's like my dream though. I mean, even when I bought my Wrangler, I was very specific about I did not want electronic locks. I did not want electronic windows, hand crank windows, manual locks on the doors. Very firm on that. All the basic stuff. I got the base model Wrangler 4-wheel drive with the V6 JK Wrangler. Bought it with a soft top, changed it to a hard top after the soft top. The soft top, I abused that truck to I put it. I mean, I drove it like a Jeep, and eventually the soft top didn't have any more to give. It was done, and I replaced it with a hard top, which increased the value of the vehicle by $2,000 when I did it. The KBB value went up $2,000 when I put the hard top on because that's sought after. It's not easy to find a 2-door Jeep JK hardtop. I had to go to Atlanta to get one, a used one. Pretty much brand new condition though. Now over the time I owned that Jeep, I upgraded the stock wheels to a set of Rubicon. So I got a set of wheels off a Jeep Rubicon. Whatever size they were beast. I put airbags in the suspension so that I could carry heavy loads in the back. I could carry 1,000 pounds of cargo in that Jeep and it would drive like butter going down the roads and trails because of the airbags and the coil suspension. I put a nice Yakima spare tire bike rack that could carry 3 bicycles, but it was compact. And you could easily pop the spare tire off without the bike rack getting in the way. I had inside the Jeep, I had a roof rack inside the Jeep, a gun rack that could hold my AR-15 with my Kel-Tec 12-gauge tactical shotgun, one on either side. And it was tucked up into the hard top to where I got pulled over by cops. And the cops, not that it was illegal because it's Pennsylvania, but I could drive around with both of my guns up in there, ready to grab. I could grab the AR by going like this, pulling a Velcro strap and grabbing the gun. It was right there. But nobody could see it. I got pulled over by a cop. He never saw him. And you're not required to tell a cop that you have a gun. I had a carry conceal permit. So there was nothing illegal about it, but people would get in my vehicle and be sitting there for half an hour and all of a sudden look up and realize, oh my God, you got 2 guns up there. They wouldn't even see them. So I did all these little the Jeep Wrangler is like one of the most customizable vehicles there is. You can turn one of those into anything you want it to be over time. And that's why I'm like, I look at that Toyota that they just came out with and I'm like, that is like, oh, I want that. I want that so bad. $10,000 base price. My God, dude, why can't we get those? The FBI, what happened to your guns when you went away? Did you sell them or give them away? The FBI couldn't fit all the ammo in their truck. They said that's in the transcripts. That's in the court record that I had so much ammo in my house that they couldn't collect it all and they didn't have a vehicle that could carry it all away. So they left most of the ammo at my house and took the guns. I had 13 guns. I got them all back, but I didn't get them back. So my son's mother had to go get them. She went to the FBI in Pittsburgh and got them back. And so they're all my son has them. I haven't asked him specifically which guns he kept and which ones he sold. Out of the 13, 3 of them were his specifically, a 22 rifle. He had a 410 gauge shotgun and he had a 22 revolver. Those were his guns. The rest of the other 10 were mine, but the main ones that out of the 10 that were mine, I had a 380 Smith & Wesson Bodyguard that I used to carry either in an ankle holster or a pocket holster. I had a Springfield XDS 45, which is the smallest compact 45 that you can buy. It's a motherfucker to shoot though. It's hard to be accurate and the grips are really bad. They beat the crap out of your hands, especially if you use the short magazine that only hold. They have a 5-round mag and a 7-round mag, and if you carry the 5-round mag, it's super super compact. You can carry it in a pocket holster, front pocket holster, and nobody will ever see it because it's almost the same size as the 380 side by side, but because it's a 45, it's beefier and it's meatier and it's much more heavier. It's much heavier. So I would not. Sometimes I'd carry them both, one in the pocket, one in the ankle. And then I had a basic bitch AR-15. It was a American tactical upper and lower, and it had some accessories on the rail. It had a 360-degree rail on the upper, and that's why I liked that gun. It was a nice gun. It was a basic AR-15, but it was nice. I think I paid like $500 for that, and then I put a couple of things on it. And then I had a Keltec KSG tactical 12 gauge shotgun with the dual tubes that you could switch back and forth. So like one side of that would be double aught buck and the other side was slugs. So if I wanted to, if I wanted to throw down, I could be like, well, do you want slugs? You want the double aught buck? Which one you want? And you could switch back and forth, whichever one you want to go with. That's what you got. And if you use like the Aguila mini shells, I think you could fit like 25 rounds in that shotgun if you use the mini shells. But I just use the standard size shells. But like you could put double aught buck on one side with 2.25 or 2.5 inch or whatever they standard 12 gauge shell double aught buck on one side, and you could put the Aguila mini shells on the other so that you can jam a bunch of them in there, and you can kind of have like the best of both worlds. You got the Aguila mini shells, you got a bunch of shots, but if you need to really like bang bang, you can just flip that switch and now you got some that gun. But those were the 4 guns that I typically like. Those are the ones that I always kept at the ready. I had some other guns that were fun to play with, standard Remington 870 shotgun, and I even had a Mosin Nagant that was all like modernized with a floating barrel stock and a muzzle suppressor, not suppressor, but the muzzle brake at the end of it looked like a modern sniper rifle, but it was a 1902 or whatever Mosin Nagant that was all modified. I put a 10-round magazine on it, and it was 7.62 by 54R, which is a freaking bullet like that long. But I put a magazine on that thing that could hold 10 rounds. And then I had to get, because of the bolt action, the bolt and how everything kind of lines up, you can't put a standard scope on it. You have to use like a scout scope. It's called a long eye relief scope, so that the scope has to be about that far from your eye, because you can't mount a traditional scope on that rifle because it'll get in the way of the bolt when you work the bolt after you take a shot. And so it took me a while to find the right scope, but you get a scout scope so that the reticle, so that the eye relief fills up the whole picture of the scope when the scope is far away from your eye, because most scopes have to be about this close before if you move the scope away, you only get like a little circle of light in the middle of the scope. So you have to find the right scope to mount on a gun like that. But that was like a project gun. I wanted it so it was like a fun gun. It was like the way I described it was, I took this old Russian communist. It was the gun that spread communism. I wanted to make a gun that was the scariest looking gun that a Democrat had ever seen. Like the most scary looking sniper rifle that a liberal could possibly imagine. Yet it was the gun that spread communism all over the Eastern Bloc. So it was like I was like, "Hey, that this is your gun, people. This is the gun that spread communism. You should love this thing." Um, but yeah, that was just a fun project gun, and I barely ever shot it. Um, I think I took that thing to the range like twice, but the gun range I used to go to, they had a 300-yard range. So I wanted to get that thing sighted in to where I could just, bang open a milk jug from 300 yards, blow up a pumpkin from 300 yards, but I never got around to it because there's just too many things to do. Um, but I miss it. I would love to be a gun owner again someday, but like I was saying earlier today, Donald Trump, in my opinion, Donald Trump is the biggest backstabbing traitor America has ever seen since Benedict Arnold because he came in talking a big game, but all he does is bitch on social media and he doesn't do anything. So I'm not getting a pardon. Like anybody who thinks I'm getting early release or a pardon because, Donald Trump did give pardons to all the January 6th people on his first day, but he don't give a fuck about me, especially now because I just called him the biggest traitor, backstabbing piece of shit since Benedict Arnold. So that's not gonna, he's not gonna do anything to help me now. um, but whatever, I don't care at this point. But it would be nice to own a gun again. Being a sitting duck for the rest of my life's not a fun prospect to, I'm going to run into a situation, hopefully not, but hopefully, and, hopefully I'm not out in the woods camping and doing the things that I like to do someday. And all of a sudden run into a situation where I need a gun and I'm not allowed to have one. Or if I were to somehow magically have a gun, if I use it to defend my life and save me from dying and save the people I love from dying, then I'm going to go to prison for 10 years because that's an automatic 10-year bid in federal prison if you're a convicted felon with a gun, especially if the original felony conviction that forbade you from ever having a gun again was a federal crime. That's an automatic 10-year bid. Even if I did, even if I stopped a mass shooter, like they would put me in prison for 10 years if there was a mass school shooter or a shooter out on the fucking frisbee golf course or who at a church or whatever. If I picked up the shooter's gun and shot the shooter with it, I'd go to prison for 10 years for that, for having a gun, for being in possession of a firearm. And if you don't believe me, look at all these fucking liberal judges that won't, allow Donald Trump to do anything he wants to do. They would put me in jail like that. For some reason I can't snap my right hand anymore, but I can snap my left hand like no one's business. I don't know why. Maybe I got some arthritis or something going on. I don't know, but no, they'll put me in prison for 10 years just for holding a gun in my hand. You can't even you could go to prison for 10 years for having a bullet, for having a fucking bullet. You don't even need to have a gun. You can get 10 years for a bullet. As a convicted felon, getting caught with a bullet in your pocket. Like, it's not something you want to do. So, I mean, if there's a mass shooter, fuck them. I'm not going to get in the way. I'm not going to if I have a chance to pick up the gun and take out the shooter, there's a bunch more people are just going to have to die because I'm not going to prison for 10 years for that. See ya. Good luck. But yeah, I don't want to be in a situation where all of a sudden, because I don't have any rights anymore, because the Constitution no longer applies to me, I would hate to be in a situation someday where that becomes the reason why I got killed or, I just hope it never happens. But we live in crazy times. So, but thank you. I'm just going to say it's like 3.5 hours. I did stay a little bit. I really, honestly, when the internet dropped twice tonight, I was pretty much over it. I was about to quit. I was about to just say, you know what? I'm not doing the stream anymore. Screw you guys. I'm going home. I was done. I was over it. I was about to say, we're done here. But rebooting the router seemed to have an effect, and we haven't had any problems since. And so, you got some extra time out of me to just hang out with you guys. Um, because some make good and some make up for lost time. So, um, we'll just call it a funny moment because y'all knew what I was saying, even though there was no audio when you see me going. So y'all knew what the words were. You didn't need to hear the audio. Um, but I'm just gonna let it go. And so once again, the members only live stream will be Sunday at 2 o'clock. I haven't posted the thumbnail. I haven't posted it to the channel. Yeah. Oh, I never. Yeah, I never swear. um, if I do, when I get back to doing long form videos on YouTube, I am going to do some videos where I don't swear on purpose and I don't say controversial things, but because I'm trying to teach you something with these, um, that might be the way that I can break through the shadow ban and get the algorithm to give me some love again. Because every time, I mean, if I'm just being me, the YouTube crowd and me we're not compatible. We're not hanging out. We're not going to the same parties. We're not hanging out on the weekends. It's just that those people and my people we're not the same. And even though I've got an agent at YouTube now, or whatever they want to call it, human being that I can talk to, she says there's nothing wrong with me and I'm not shadow banned. And I'm like, well, yeah, if you were to tell me you're shadow banned, or if you were to tell me I'm shadow banned, then you would be admitting that you shadow ban people. And so YouTube, if you work for YouTube, that's probably in your contract that you can't tell people they're shadow banned because YouTube doesn't want people to know that they actually shadow ban people, even though they do. And so it's all just a game. It's all a stupid game that we got to play. And because these platforms have a monopoly, the cost, Elon Musk doesn't have enough money, or he has enough money, but for another company to come in and compete with YouTube on internet video, it would be impossible. They would never be able to get financially speaking, there's not enough money. The investors, how long? It'd take 20 years. You'd have to spend $50 billion and take 20 years to even start recuperating some of your initial investment. How the hell can you even do that? How can you build a competitor to a monopoly when, but the reason they became a monopoly is because the government funded them to become it. Google, the whole story of Google is DARPA. A lot of these monopolies that you see running our world today were funded by the government and shielded from competition to become monopolies. um, so anyway, we can just sit here all night and talk about these things, but it is Christmas. Let y'all get back to doing whatever you're doing. And, once again, thanks for stopping by. The links.litgood.com pinned at the top of the chat. That is the plug. That's the plugs. Anything that you want to click on. If you want to follow me other places and, have a backup plan in case YouTube does say, you know what, we're done with him. He said the wrong thing one too many times. We're going to put the kibosh on that channel. Instead of canceling me, they just forbid me from having new subscribers. 1,200 subscribers in 60 days, and then 0 subscribers for what is it now, 17, 18 months in a row. Not even one new subscriber. Not one. That's suppression. That is a suppression algorithm keeping me from growing my channel. Why would they let me gain 1,200 subscribers in 60 days and have one of the fastest rising channels that there were at the time, and then all of a sudden just turn it off? 17 months, 0 subscribers. So that's why I'm putting more focus on X. If I'm going to try and grow a platform, I'm seeing growth on X. It's slow. I get back what I put into it. If I spend all day with my smart ass attitude making posts and comments, I'll see over 100,000 impressions and I'll get a bunch of new followers. If I do basically nothing all day, I'll still see impressions and followers, but it won't be anywhere. It'll be like in the 5 to 10,000 impression range. YouTube is only giving me like a couple hundred impressions on a video when they used to give me 30,000 impressions. The impressions are what get new people to see you. No new people will ever see it. But there is a button that you can hit. One last thing, there's 9 people. There's a button somewhere in the interface when you're watching this or after it's done. There's a hype button. You're allowed to hype videos that you like, and those hypes that you it's like a thumbs up, but it's more powerful. It's supposed to tell the algorithm that you really, really, really like something, and then the algorithm is supposed to respond to the hype, and it's supposed to give you a boost. Um, but they can do whatever they want. I mean, it's if they haven't let me have one news of even a crappy ass channel watching, fish swim in an aquarium will get more than one subscriber in a span of 17 months. So the fact that they will not let me have a new subscriber in 18 months or whatever it's been, I don't know. I don't know the exact number, but 1,260 days and then 0 for the remainder of the time I've been on here. There would be more people coming to the party. I understand that my abrasive attitude and my swearing and other things that I say and telling the truth and Jesus and everything, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are turned off by that. But the point is, there's more people like us out there. There's a lot of people who would listen to this. The reason why I know is because there's other people who are in the same genre who are just as abrasive as I am, who have tens of thousands of followers, hundreds of thousands of followers, and their people are my people. But they won't let me reach those people because they put a block on it. And so I'll try to figure out how to get it unblocked. But if I start putting out like serious videos where I don't swear and I'm just like giving you some good information and they suppress the hell out of those videos and don't let me grow, I am going to start banging down a door with my agent at YouTube and be like, look, just be square with me. You've suppressed my channel for the last however many months. It's maybe because I swear, maybe because I said COVID is a scam and I say it like every day. Like I say things, you put warnings on my videos where COVID is not a scam. Adam is giving you misinformation. Warning, don't listen to Adam, listen to us. We're the experts. Dr. Fauci is your friend. Dr. Fauci knows what's best. Don't listen to Adam. So, wasn't I supposed to be dead by now? Like, didn't Joe Biden say if I don't take that vaccine, I've got 6 months left to live and I'm going to die and everybody around me is going to die and I'm going to be the reason they all died before I died, and yet I'm here. December 25th, 2025. I'm living strong. Hope you're all doing strong as well. And with that, I'm just going to say peace out for now. Peace.